Why are you closer? Are you using your laptop?
Yeah, that's why I don't like laptop. Look at that. Look at that. Dude, I gotta get you one of these.
We should use laptops together, man. Like we're a laptop team.
Yeah, we are a laptop team.
And you do your own
this
thing.
Is like I wear Nike and you wear Adidas. I'm getting the benefits of.
That's right. It's true. It looks so much better with that angle.
It's true. I like the angle. What's this open? Oh.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour one of Schaefer and Sliwa on this Wednesday afternoon where the Padres are rolling, although we do have an update on Nick Pivetta. John Schaefer, Alan Sliwa, Dan Zimborski from Fangraphs. We'll join the show at 3:30. Our guest at 4:30, I'm going to always point to you for a 4:30 guest, is
Adam Osland, who does pre-half and post for the Clippers Warriors tonight in one of the most anticipated play-in tournament games in play-in tournament history.
Get rid of the words playing. Just one of the most anticipated games in American sports history.
Yeah.
And that's coming up tonight. So Adam Osland will join us at 4:30.
Do you hang a banner
if you do win this game is the question.
No, but if you win back-to-back out of the 9-10, but not just tonight, because tonight you're only living to play another day.
Right.
But if you win back-to-back games, you can hang something.
That's right.
Nick Pivetta has spoken on his injury. I wouldn't call this encouraging, although I wouldn't call it like a season ender either. This is Nick Pivetta from AJ Cassavell. He's been shut down. Here's the exact quote. Going to take time to rest, allow some healing to happen. He wouldn't discuss the specifics of his MRI, but said he's confident he'll be back again this season. When asked if surgery could be on the table, he said he's focusing, quote unquote, focusing on rehab. We talked about this yesterday. You and I both said we'd be very surprised if it was 15 days. We also remained hopefully cautiously optimistic he would pitch again. I think that's where this is. This will not be 15 days. He will, trust me, he will not be back in 15 days, but you're hopeful he's back at some point to help this team. But that's a long window from 15 days to 5 months. It's going to be somewhere in between.
All right, gut punch, no question about it. Obviously any team that loses their ace, and that's what Nick Pivetta is for the Padres. You want to make the argument between Pivetta and King, you can. But the point is that he's one of the most important starters, obviously, on this team. And to lose him for an extended period of time is truly a gut punch. With that being said, if I'm just trying to play this big picture.
Yeah.
And if Pivetta is saying he's confident he's going to be back again.
Yep.
Then the only positive I could take out of that is we're in April.
Yeah, I agree.
So if it went 60 days, but then you got Nick Pivetta who's ready to come back and be Nick Pivetta, then I'll take my chances. Because really what you're not, there's no awards to win in April. There's nothing that's going to happen in the next 60 days. The only thing, the big question mark's going to be is, you have guys that are stepping up. Because that's what, if you look at it from that perspective, that's what this is going to create. And what you're hoping for is that by the time you get to July, you got your horses. And that's going to hopefully include Joe Musgrove in that mix. And that's going to hopefully the Padres can continue to win at a clip where they're right in the thick of that wild card race. And obviously they're off to a great start. That's the only positive I could take out of it is that we're sitting in April.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's a weird dichotomy because on one hand, the Padres are playing as well as anyone. I'm talking anyone in this exact moment because they're riding this 6-game winning streak. Shoot, there's only one team in baseball with a better record.
The Baltimore Orioles.
Shocker. It's
the A's.
No, not the
Orioles. It's not the A's.
The team.
Can I get one more guess?
Yeah.
I got it.
Who?
How's Tampa doing?
No, it's the team that's won back-to-back World Series in the same division as the
Never
Padres.
heard of them.
Believe it or not. But take that away for a moment, and let's just talk about the Padres having won 6 straight. Like, the analogy for me is like, is a storm brewing? You know, like you got beautiful weather, and you're not worried about the storm that's coming because the weather's beautiful. It's spectacular. But man, 3 to 5 days from now, there's problems. Like there's an inevitability to the weather. Is there an inevitability here because they don't have Pivetta? I would say no, honestly. I honestly think it can be overcome. Twofold reasons, one of which is April. You have options in time. Secondarily, it's like they're just collectively playing well. Like, okay, you're collectively playing well. It's not solely because of Nick Pivetta. Like, yeah, okay, Pivetta's had a couple of good starts, but they're collectively playing well. They have found ways. Now, it's a different conversation in October. You need starting pitching. You want to have your rotation set up. But I wouldn't say this is like the end of the world, but I also wouldn't say it's nothing.
Oh, I mean,
it's obviously not nothing.
Listen, it's significant. It's a big deal. I don't want to sound like I'm underselling it. Not having Nick Pivetta for an extended period of time, there's no other way to put it than it's a gut punch. Like it really is. It genuinely, that's how my body feels when we saw what happened on Sunday. We saw how he got pulled out. We saw that it was 9 up, 9 down. And here's Nick Pivetta walking off the mound. You're like, yeah, this can't be good. And I think our initial feeling about it is playing out.
Right.
The worst case scenario, the hope is obviously he avoids that. And it sounds like, based off him saying he's confident he's going to be back at some point this season, does mean that it's not the worst case scenario. Hopefully, right? Like we'll see how it plays out. But this is a tough one. The reason why you feel maybe good about just the current state of the Padres, I like their lineup. They actually, after those first 6 or 7 games, has been a good brand of baseball. Yesterday was a good, solid win for the Padres against a good Mariners team, against a good starting pitcher. They kind of find ways to score. You got a lot of different guys stepping up. I mean, outside of, I can point at Sheets had a couple of games. I could point at France has had a couple of games. I could point at some of their main players that have been coming through. Laureano, Xander's having a nice start to their season. I think the team is better than I thought it was. Now, again, it's a small sample size, but maybe that's where some of the confidence comes from, that they could stem the tide without Pivetta. But not having Pivetta, this is not the same team.
I would say you're 100% right. As I try to rationalize it in my head, this is where I'm going with it. To your point, it's April. April baseball, like newsflash here, is not October baseball. Just like regular season NBA isn't postseason NBA, there's like a dynamic shift. If we were having the conversation about Nick Pivetta on September 25th, I would say the Padres are screwed. That would be my feeling.
I agree with you.
Because you're like, you have nowhere to turn and can't be overcome. But it's not September 25th. There's so many avenues, whether it's somebody just steps up and pitches well, Pivetta returns sooner rather than later. You have a trade deadline, Lucas Giolito. I mean, that's just me saying 4 or 5 things are possible. So they have things they can turn to.
That's a great point.
So that's why I'm not, do I feel like it is a gut punch? Yes. I'd feel way worse if they were 6-11 right now, as opposed to 11-6, but like nothing's going right. Just almost like burn the thing down is what I would be feeling. But I'm like, you know what? It's April. They've won 6 straight. They've got the second best record in the sport. I think they can keep their head above water, but there will be a point in time we're going to be talking about the importance of Nick Pivetta, and it's going to be in the second half of the year if you're trending towards the postseason.
I do think for the Padres, these first 90 days of the season, I do think it's different for the Padres than some of the other teams out there. There's certain squads that can maybe get off to an okay start, maybe have more margin for error. I don't know how much margin of error the Padres have. So I think I'm a little surprised by it, but I think April is important. And I think May is important. I think June's very important. I say that because there are going to be some really competitive teams in the NL. Getting a wild card spot is not a guarantee. Your own division, take out who's the clear favorite in the division. You might have some, the Diamondbacks could be in the mix. You're just assuming that the Braves are going to be there. The Mets are going to be there. You're assuming.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day. So I think I don't want to downplay April. I don't want to downplay May and June, because I think the Padres, it's so critical that they give themselves a little bit of room here, that when they do go on that 4-game losing streak, because it will probably come in a 162-game schedule, when they do struggle and lose 6 of 10 or 7 of 10, like it happens to everybody, that they have a little bit of a cushion.
877-767-4760. Can they overcome the loss of Nick Pivetta for likely at least the medium term? It doesn't sound short term. Hopefully it's not long term. 877-767-4760. We'd love to hear from Padres fans this afternoon, including a very good one in Dave, who's on line 1. And Dave, you're on with Schaefer and Sliwa. Thanks for calling in, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Good discussion as usual. So the thing that we've learned, we're not doctors, obviously, but the thing that we learn about pitchers, elbow injuries are not a good thing at any time, anywhere, any place. So My concern is simply this: you've lost Darvish, you've lost Musgrove, now Pivetta, another elbow. At some point in time, this is going to catch up with this team. So short term, you can stick Matt Waldron in there for a few starts. Maybe he'll give us more than a few starts. But at some point in time, you're going to have to find you, AJ, and the executive office is going to have to come up with some long-term answers other than where we're at right now, because I have a very bad feeling about elbow injuries. We've just seen too many of them, and the end result, based upon what we see here, at least in San Diego, has never been a good one.
Dave, appreciate it. I mean, he brings up a really good point, which is even if you get him back, is it like the ticking time bomb, or is he the same player? Because elbows, you can't get around it. Hitters can get around, my knee, my leg. You know what I mean? You can compensate. You figure it out. How do you get around it as a pitcher if you're not 100%?
Yeah, the only thing I could think of is clearly now moving forward for him, Pivetta is not going to have this grind of a regular season.
Correct.
So if the only benefit I can see from it, again, this is not a luxury. This is going to be out of necessity. They don't. This isn't by choice that the Padres are saying, let's be very strategic how we want to use Pivetta. And you know what? Let's just save him for the postseason. Like, they can't do that. They don't have that luxury. But indirectly, that can happen just based off of the injuries. Maybe I'm just using as an example here. Come July, maybe Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta are in the rotation, and you really don't have to, you could kind of let them go, right? Because they've already pitched such few innings, and you know the totality of how many innings they pitch in the year, it's going to be low. It's not going to be a big number. But to go off of, was it Dave was the caller? To go off of what Dave just said, let's say Pivetta was healthy and Lucas Giolito's name came up. Again, I don't know if this is the answer to everything, but it sounds like of one of the options that this could be certainly someone that could come in and fill that gap. Let's just pretend Pivetta was healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Would you still want them to go after Lucas Giolito?
Me personally?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And just because now that increases their chances just a little bit more to go make a World Series run, correct?
Exactly, which I'm most concerned about at the end of the day.
At the end of the day. So I think with that being said, whether it's Giolito or it's somebody else, the point Dave was making, you don't have enough internally here. You're going to eventually have to go out there and get something external to help take care of this problem. And even if you get Pivetta back and even if you get Musgrove back, phenomenal. Once you get in the postseason, you need all these guys.
Yeah, and you'd always rather have one more as opposed to one less. And you know what happens in this sport? The team that has the starting pitching that holds up the longest is often standing towards the end. The Padres have run out of starting pitching so many times this decade. 2020, 2021, 2022, they were on fumes against the Phillies. It was a disaster, the rotation. There's so many examples of this. So many. I'd always rather have one more.
And we could just go back to let's not say last season in the 3-game set against the Cubs, but obviously the season before that when you had to pitch Dylan Cease on 3 days rest.
Exactly.
And that was the series.
Yeah, Joe Musgrove, exactly, in 2024. Let's quickly sneak in this call, Brent. Jeff is on line 1-877-767-4760. Jeff, you're on with Schaefer and Sliwa.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call. Unfortunate news about Pivetta, but like Alan was talking about earlier, this might be the first year where I've looked at the lineup and thought, man, they can pick us up. Usually it's the pitching staff sort of pulling the weight and kind of lifting up the offense that normally doesn't perform. Think of like Maldonado last year, Gurriel, Hayward.
It's a Crater 7, 8, 9.
Those guys.
Yeah.
But this year, Casty, France, Andujar, I mean, all these guys, we don't even have a 100% Tatis full power yet. So it's unfortunate, but I feel confident that this lineup can kind of pull some of the weight this year.
Great call. Thank you, Jeff. If you want to weigh in, can they overcome the loss of Nick Pivetta for the medium term? 877-767-4760. What Luis Campusano has to say about his fast start. It's almost becoming like a motto now for the Padres potentially moving forward. Plus, Dan Zimborski from Fangraphs joins us in 15 minutes here on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Dan Zimborski from Fangraphs will join us coming up in about 10 minutes with his thoughts on the injury to Nick Pivetta. Also, the fast start for the Padres. Remember, Fangraphs at one point, Alan, gave the Padres, about a 20% chance of making the postseason. What do you think that is right now?
So that was probably, are we talking, was that at the lowest, 7 games in?
Either 7 games in or to start the year. I think 7 games in, it was below 20%, to be honest.
So what do I think right now it is? I think the Padres have a 64% chance.
I love that. I have no idea. I'm looking right now. The answer
Don't set it up that way like you already had the answer.
No, but this is shocking to me. I need to talk to Dan, and we will. The Padres at Fangraphs have a 40.9% chance of making the postseason with their 11-5 start. How? Are they 11-5?
No, I think they're
6.
Yeah, I think 11-6. Yeah, 5 games over 500 after the 6-6.
So they give them a 40.9% chance.
I kind of get it.
Do you?
Yeah.
What is it?
By the way, I wonder if once an injury happens, if that percentage also comes into play. I get it because we are how many games in?
17.
I get it because I'm sure there was how many games you think the Padres are going to win before the season starts. So I think they're also, if they were, this team's going to win 84, 85, I think they're taking into consideration maybe some other squads that they think are going to be more competitive in the end. I think they're in the same division as the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks, of course.
I know. Just pretend
avoid them.
We're going to be in the AL. I'm telling you, we're going to put out a petition to get in the AL. We want to switch with the Angels.
All right, a couple of things. Luis Campusano, okay? So as most people know, last year, he was literally hitless in the major leagues. Now, he only had 20 or 21 at-bats, right? Well, he's had this resurgence here.
He's been good. He's been very nice.
7 for 21, right? That's really
phenomenal.
Good. Really, really good. And what's different for Campy? That's an interesting question. A guy that was up and down, hitting in AAA, but wasn't able to succeed in the major leagues. He was asked this post-game. Marty Caswell was in the clubhouse. This audio is courtesy of Marty. This was fascinating from Luis Campusano after another win last night.
I'm just not giving a really. Just not giving a just whatever happens, happens. Just I'm here for a reason. Don't overthink it. Just play the game like you know how to play it.
Honestly, dude, I love that mentality.
Oof.
Do you know how I'll get this is hard to relate for our listeners, but what you and I do, I've made this point before in the air over the years. When you try your hardest, it doesn't necessarily produce the best show. When it comes free and easy and conversational and just whatever, you almost
a little more loose.
Yeah, when you're looser and freer, sometimes you can produce the best quality content. Sometimes I feel that way, specifically with baseball. You overthink it, things can go haywire quick. It goes south quick. There's a fine line, I'm sure, in there, but it just seems like he's freer and looser, and the dividends are paying off because of it.
I don't know what the reason is.
I
don't know why he's 7 of 21. I don't know why all of a sudden he looks more confident at the plate. By the way, he's doing a great job catching as well. I just know that we've been talking about Luis Campusano's name for a while now.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of it has been negative, and his name has been dragged in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
And deservedly so. I hate to say it, but that's part of everybody's job that's covering teams. You just gotta say it how it is. And if Tatis isn't hitting any home runs, and we got to be critical about it. And if Walker Buehler doesn't look, this is our job. It's to do that. And this is more, I'm referring to you and other media in San Diego, because you guys have been covering Campusano for a long time. I don't know what's going on, but I love Campusano sticking his chest out and saying, I don't give an F.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you what it's going to mean a month from now or 2 months from now, but I'm sure so much of somebody's success in any occupation is having a little bit of blind faith and confidence that there's a reason why I'm here.
Yeah, it's a great point.
There's a little bit of that in Campusano. I love it. And I think, for him and especially for the Padres, as we talk about their lineups and what a hole it was in 7, 8, 9 in previous years, the further you got down the order, the less that you looked at. Campusano was one of those guys that you'd look at and be like, that's an out. Let's see how long he can keep this up for. And if it stops today and that streak ends, I still want Luis Campusano to be confident in himself, to stick his chest out. And when random reporters come put their mic in front of him, he says, "I don't give an F." That's a good sign from my perspective.
I mean, to your point, I agree. I mean, the dude has spent parts of 7 years in the major leagues. Now, a lot of that's been limited. When he got called up, I think he broke something his first game in 2020. I forget what it was, a finger batting or something. But he's been up for parts of 7 seasons from 2020 through 2026. I guess
it's a grind.
He's almost though reached the point where you can say, you know what? Let's screw it all. I'm here for a reason. To your point, it's my 7th season. It's sink or swim time. Just do it to the best of your ability. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I feel like he's at that point.
But that's when you tried referencing this, and I think anybody can apply this into their own life. I think that's when you're at your most dangerous. Like that's when I think that's when you're probably the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Is that when there's a little bit of that, you know what, F it. I don't care about the result. I'm just going to go out there and do what I do. And whatever the result is, the result is. I think people usually have some success with that mentality.
I agree with you. Dan Szymborski, Fangraphs on the Padres playoff chances, the impact of the Nick Pivetta injury, and the Padres' fast start. All that and more. He'll join us on the other side here on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by the West Automotive Group. The Padres and the Mariners getting ready for Game 2 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Emerson Hancock going for Seattle and Randy Vasquez going for San Diego. First pitch is set for 6:40. The NBA today announced that numbers saying that the regular season had 170 million people in the U.S. watch NBA games across the regular season and across their 4 primary broadcast platforms. Those numbers are league's best in 24 years, and the NBA said it was up 86% from last season. And speaking of the NBA play-in games, it's night 2 of the play-in games. At 4:30, we got Magic 76ers, and at 7 o'clock, we've got Warriors Clippers. The West Automotive Group is San Diego's largest independent automotive and transmission service and repair facility. Get a no-charge AAA 40-point inspection with any other service or repair. Book an appointment now at westautomotivegroup.com.
All right, Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. Dan Zimborski from Fangraphs will hop on momentarily. You got his number, Brent? All right, so Brent's got his number, so we're going to check in with Dan right now.
I'll call him on my cell.
You want to call him and
I'll
just
put him on
it up
speaker.
to the speaker? Yeah, we could do that.
I got you.
Okay. All right.
I can't wait to talk to you a little bit about Godfather a little bit later.
Well, I haven't seen it yet.
I know.
So don't spoil it.
No, there's no
spoiling this thing.
This is about you and I connecting through a movie. We're going to connect through a movie.
When did it come out? 70s or 80s?
I think 70s.
So I need 50 years before. Like, I need a 50-year. Don't spoil it for 50 years.
John, listen to me. Okay.
It's been 50.
This one is a non-negotiable. You and I are both nice guys. Okay.
Yeah.
You and I are, we're going to roll our sleeves and try to build something together here. The Godfather thing is a non-negotiable. We'll talk about it. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah, we'll get into it.
Dan Zimborski from Fangraphs back with us right now on San Diego Sports 760. Schaefer and Sliwa. Dan, appreciate you taking time for us. Obviously, baseball season well underway at this point. What's your reaction to the way the Padres have started here? They've won 6 straight. They're 11-6 overall. Is that surprising, their start?
Well, I mean, winning almost 2/3 of your game at any point is a good thing and always a little surprising. I mean, the last week has gone really well for the Padres. They were kind of up and down the first week of the season, but they're 2 games back of the Dodgers. The Dodgers aren't as invincible as people think. Now, the Dodgers are still the favorite. Don't get me wrong, but people act like it's like some sort of predestination that the Dodgers are fated to win. And that's really not the case. If you look at projections, I mean, we still had like only 80% to win a division at any point this season so far. And 1 in 5 is a really good shot.
Interesting. By the way, I'm surprised to hear that. I probably fall more on the lines of, and this is certainly a conversation that we'll have throughout the season, but it's like you just kind of assume the Dodgers are going to do what they're going to do. And I don't think the Padres should pay any attention to them because there's nothing they can do. They can't worry about them. Based off this little run that the Padres have been on, can you explain statistically, I think we were just looking at it, that the Padres have a 40-something percentage chance to make the postseason. How does, as the season progresses, the way that fluctuates, how much does it have to do with other teams in the NL? Just can you, at least for somebody, for me, give me a little bit of an overview how that works?
Well, if you're looking at the Fangraphs projections, which are a combination of the Zips and the Steamer projections, they basically take the roster, estimate how strong the roster is, and then simulate the rest of the season. For the Zips projections, I do it slightly differently since it doesn't have to be done every day, where I simulate the depth charts and I simulate injuries to try to kind of get a slightly better idea of what the ranges are. For when Fangraphs is projecting the rest of the season, it always thinks that Aaron Judge, for example, is going to be healthy the rest of the season and hit his projection. While another methodology that I use for my projections will assume that sometimes Aaron Judge is injured and sometimes when he's injured, it's a serious one. And that really causes teams that have better depth to get better projections than others. And the Dodgers are like that in a way because they are a very top-heavy team. You look at the offense especially, it's driven by, basically 4, maybe 5 stars, depending on your definition. But the depth is not quite there, and it is an older team, and things happen. Mookie Betts is not young. Freddie Freeman is not young. Even Ohtani isn't super young. It's a fairly old team. So there are scenarios that the Padres really can be in a position to take advantage of any misfortune the Dodgers have. I mean, again, you still expect the Dodgers,
what
85
have
out of
they
100
done?
to be the better team.
They've done nothing. They've accomplished nothing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, I think it's fair. Again, like mathematically speaking, it's not some foregone guarantee that they'll win the division, but the odds suggest they will find a way to win the division. Dan Zaborski from Fangraphs with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa. Obviously, we've learned here recently from a Padres perspective, Nick Pivetta is going to miss some time. He's on the IL. How do you see the impact, or even analytically speaking, what is the impact of an early season loss of Pivetta?
Pivetta is a pretty big deal because you look at the Padres coming into the season, and the questions were the back of the rotation and the depth of the rotation. And an injury like this really challenges that because then you're talking about Herman Marquez, who has had a pretty checkered history since his original injury several years ago. You're talking about Walker Buehler, and these are big question marks. And to lose Pivetta for who knows how long, that could be a really big deal. And that's one of the things that it's really going to come down to just how long it is. Even a seasonal loss would doom the Padres, but it would make it just so much harder.
Statistically, analytically, every time you get a chance to see Mason Miller and see what he's done so far for the Padres from a closing perspective, and the conversation's been so awesome to see so many different people everywhere, national media, local media, talking about how special he is. How do you, as somebody that's so analytically driven, how do you kind of see what he's done so far to start the season?
Well, I think I'm always driven by kind of a split between my analytical side and my that's cool side.
Yeah.
And I like the cool stuff. And what Mason Miller is doing is really cool. There's always a part of me analytically that thinks, what if he were a starting pitcher and gave you more innings, but not quite as good? But its cool side says, yeah, like take what Edwin Diaz did a few years ago and let's best that. I mean, the Baseball Writers Association, we're doing a new award this season where we're going to actually award a relief pitcher of the year at the end of the year, because relief pitchers really in the last 15 years haven't generally done very well in the Cy Young voting, and it's hard to see relief pitchers get Cy Young consideration. But it's almost like Mason Miller is daring us to say, you know what, I should get Cy Young consideration. Which I like.
It's funny you say that because you're a voter, right? You voted for Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago when it was down to Merrill and Skeens. Didn't you vote for Merrill?
Yes, I voted for Merrill.
There we go.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's the one I got the heat over. I'm in the Cincinnati Baseball Writers Association chapter, and in 2021, I was the Jonathan India won 29-1 in the first place vote,
and you didn't.
I was the one, and one of the Cincinnati voters. So I was kind of the main character in Cincinnati sports news for like a week, which was kind of a headache.
That's hilarious. So, okay, but let's go back to the Mason Miller conversation for a moment. Again, it's hard to do this for an entire year. We understand it. Almost inevitably, something will happen over the course of a year. But even anything comparable to this, a 1 ERA, the strikeout numbers, lots of saves, maybe like one blown save or fewer. Will that warrant Cy Young consideration?
It could, depending on just how high it goes. It'll be an interesting test. I don't know. I mean, I don't speak to all the voters, and certainly not about this particular issue, but I wonder if there being a relief pitcher specific vote will make them even less willing to vote for a closer. I don't know. That's kind of in the future. But for right now, it's just enjoy it while it lasts. Because the thing about a pitcher is home runs allowed ruin every scoreless streak, every good run,
right?
And they're more on the hitter than the pitcher. So if you can get through a whole season with an ERA under 1 without giving up any home runs, I think he has a really, really good chance of winning the Cy Young. But again, just enjoy the ride for now. Enjoy fighting the Dodgers, and if it happens, it happens.
Well, I go back to one point that you made about you voted for Jackson Merrill over Paul Skeens. That ain't a hot take. That's the right vote.
Not here. Yeah.
I genuinely think it was the right vote based on a lot of different factors. I had my own analytics in my own head. The one question I'll ask, we've been complimenting right now those bats for the Padres, and this is without Machado really balling out at this point. Tatis has yet to hit a home run. But it feels like, and again, for what you do, you can kind of do this more from a statistical perspective. It feels like this lineup is so much better than these last couple of years. from your perspective, how do you see that? Is the sustainable? Yeah, no, they're just on a little bit of a hot streak. Like, how do you equate whether you think this lineup could be a consistent lineup throughout the season?
I think it's a decent lineup, but there are still concerns. Tatis will obviously hit some home runs. Last I checked, and that was this morning, so it hasn't changed, he was leading baseball in hard hit percentage.
That's
he had
crazy.
like a 72% hard hit rating. Eventually, those will become home runs sooner or later, unless you're driving them all into the ground, and he's not. So there are a lot of really good things to like about the Padres offense. I'm not really sold, say, on Campusano being a real plus, or if you go over a whole season, I'm still skeptical of Miguel Andujar, who's had a real up and down career. I'm not really a Nick Castellanos fan. There are weaknesses in the lineup. I think injuries will have come down to injuries in a way, because the Padres' frontline talent is very, very good. You get Merrill, Tatis, Machado, Bogarts, and Laureano all rolling, and it's going to be an above-average offense. But you start to have an injury or two, and there are players who, like with the Dodgers, are on the wrong side of 30, so it is a risk. Then I think the Padres don't really have a lot of great depth, a lot of real plan Bs. But as long as, you keep guys off the IL, I think you can keep the party going for a while.
Dan, I wanted to just follow up on Tatis. I'm sure I've talked to you about this over the years. How do we explain, or would you now argue that he is a different player from the player he was before the suspension and the injuries? Because he was a 965 OPS through 2021. I'm trying to pull up since, and I can't. I know it's sub 800. It's close. But let's say it's 790 since he returned in 2023. Yeah, he's hitting the ball hard, but it's hard to argue he's the same player, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. In the end of the day, eventually you have to turn the elemental styles of your offense, the hard hit and the launch angle and the plate discipline. You have to turn that into actionable offense in the end. And he's still very good. And it's always hard to figure out what the causation is.
Yeah.
I don't like to go into things like, he was on steroids and this blah 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 blah. But what we do know is that he's not quite the hitter he was from 20 to 22. But he's a healthier player now, and he's turned to be a pretty fabulous right fielder defensively.
Yeah.
So he's probably not going to get back to the player he was the first few years of his career, but he's still really good. And I think sometimes you just have to take it in the end.
Dan, love your perspective.
Good stuff.
Yeah, great stuff. Appreciate you hopping on in San Diego, and let's do it again later on in the year.
Oh, it's fun, guys. Thanks for having me.
Great stuff, Dan Zaborski.
Yeah, I want to maybe compare, because I have some notes I take during games. I'm curious. Yeah,
your notes and Dan's notes?
I'm just curious if my stats, because his projections, we were off on a couple things.
Dude, his zip projections, which are like industry standard, and I didn't learn this until recently, are because his last name is Zimborski with a Z. So this guy has been running analytics.
Good for him.
For the entirety of his career. It's kind of insane.
It's a fascinating world. Like how he gets to,
I don't know.
How they get to these numbers as quick of an injury. Like you heard what he said about Pivetta. He's like, that's a big, just as we sit here and you and I were trying to, in our own head, trying to equate, we know it's a big injury, but here's somebody that just does analytics. He's like, that one's going to hurt.
Guess what? We've got an update from Craig Stammen on Nick Pivetta that we'll share with you on the other side here on Schaefer and Sliwa. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey guys, it is Schaefer again for our friends at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. And I've been telling you for a while about the hotel and spa at Jamul Casino Resort. You're going to experience elevated luxury, a refined hotel stay, rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, all the excitement of Jamul Casino Resort seamlessly brought together in one unforgettable destination. You can take your stay to the next level with exclusive hotel packages crafted for the ultimate escape. You need to check out all their dining options when you're there, including Tony Gwynn's. They've got endless dining. You can enjoy San Diego's favorite endless dining experience. That's Wednesday through Sunday at Tony Gwynn's Sports Pub. In addition, make sure to check out Hamul 23 and their everyday lobster buffet. Enjoy all you can eat lobster every day, plus dozens of other delicious stations. Start your morning with their brand new signature breakfast buffet Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10:30, featuring made-to-order omelets, fresh fruit, and sweet and savory favorites at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Listen to this.
What do you got?
Starting Monday, San Diego Sports 760 has 9 chances for you to win $1,000.
Okay.
Every weekday with the Bonus Bucks contest. Listen at the top of every hour, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. starting Monday. Listen for the keyword that entered at sportssd.com. It starts Monday at 9 a.m. We had a recent listener. This is a nationwide contest.
Yep.
And we had a recent listener. Locally.
I think I remember you guys promoting this.
Locally, that listen, not just in the cluster, listen to 7:60 a.m. right now and during this time frame in that like 4 or 5 p.m. hour that walked away with $1,000.
Phenomenal.
As part of that nationwide
Great
contest.
stuff. Cool promotion.
Cool. All right. So I would say this is encouraging in terms of what we thought about Nick Pivetta just 30 minutes ago.
What a wild like range of emotions
on
this topic.
So Craig Stammen has spoken on Pivetta. Earlier, Pivetta said he's going to be shut down, rest. We'll see what comes next. And we're like, what does that mean? Stammen this afternoon, and we'll hear what Stammen has to say hopefully within the next 30 minutes in its entirety. But according to Annie Halbern, friend of the show from the UT, she says Stammen says it's a flexor strain for Pivetta. We're not doctors, but that's not a UCL because it's a flexor. UCL is what leads to Tommy John, for example. She went on to say that Stammen says they believe it will be weeks, maybe months in terms of rehab and rest. Weeks, maybe months in terms of rehab and rest. Is that slightly more encouraging than what we thought 30 minutes ago?
Sounds a lot more encouraging to me.
I think so. Weeks, maybe months. That to me sounds like got to be a month in terms of from now to getting back. I mean, the minimum.
Well, I think the main takeaway is, let's say it's 60 days.
Okay, 2 months.
All right, you got Pivetta coming back at some point. You got Pivetta that can still be hopefully Nick Pivetta, let's say from June on. At the latest, July on. So to again think about the wild emotions of the different conversations we've had about Pivetta since Monday happened, the feeling that everybody's had since the moment happened on Sunday when he's getting pulled from the game. Now, here's the one thing I'm going to give Craig Stammen, if I can give him a little bit of piece of advice here.
Yeah.
Ready for this one?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Under promise, over deliver.
Right.
Because when that first interview came out on Sunday, it's like he could not miss a start. All right, well, now I'm thinking in my head, maybe he can't miss a start. Now you're saying weeks to months. It's a big difference. I don't know what that means. 2 weeks and 2 months is a monster difference. 3 weeks and 3 months
Big difference.
is, a good portion of your baseball season. So, but to me, that's encouraging. We heard Nick Pivetta say he's optimistic he'll be back this season, which that's not the greatest, one-liner that I want to hear. But I think hearing from what Craig Stammen said, to me, that offers more optimism than negativity.
You know how when, for example, like recently in basketball, this has been widely discussed, including here, Luka had this injury with the hamstring, right? And then there's like the grades. A grade 1 could be a couple of weeks. A grade 2 could be 3 to 6 weeks. So I don't know, but I typed in elbow flexor strain timeline.
I just did too. You got the 4 to 6?
Yeah, I got the 4 to 6 on mild to moderate. Now listen.
What do you got over there? I got a 4 to 6 week injury.
But here's the difference between what Luka would deal with in the NBA and what a pitcher deals with in baseball. A 4 to 6 week injury is much longer in terms of a pitcher. Because in basketball, you return to the floor in 4 to 6 weeks. In baseball, you don't return to a major league mound in 4 to 6 weeks. So a human being is dealing with a 4 to 6 week injury.
They're not throwing 96.
Yeah, a professional pitcher after 4 to 6 weeks can begin ramping up, presumably. The ramp-up period in baseball is a long one, from throwing side sessions to throwing a rehab out to returning.
Just like give me an idea. So let's say he misses. Let's say he misses 6 weeks.
Another ramp-up for me is between 15 and 30 days. That's very typical. It would be very abnormal to be less than 15
Okay,
days.
so basically we're saying
a couple of months.
Yeah. 2 to 2.5 months, something like that.
And maybe less. Maybe it's 60 days because 4 to 6 weeks on the short side is 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Plus now a 15-day ramp up. Okay, that's only 45 days. But 6 weeks plus a 30-day ramp up, and now it's beyond 2 months. So I think
what's the day today?
You're looking at tax day, Jackie Robinson Day, by the way.
Yeah.
4/15.
Can I let's just throw this out there. He's back by June 15th, mid-June. That's 60 days.
If he looks like Nick Pivetta, I'll take it.
World's not ending.
We don't think.
It ain't good.
Right.
But again, we'll go back to the original thing that we said.
Mm-hmm.
It's better this happened. You want to give that Luka analogy? This happens to Luka in February. You're saying, yeah, that sucks. He's out for 2 months.
Playoffs.
But this guy's back. Or let's say he's back in 1 month, right? Like whatever. I'm just using. He comes back mid-March, end of March. He's back early April. You're good. But it's when it happened. Sometimes it's not just the injury, but when it occurs.
Completely. And the Padres, unfortunately, have been bit by bad timing a lot. Maybe this isn't the worst timing. Again, you prefer the players to just be healthy. Everyone prefers that, but this is inevitable in sports.
Can I give you the best case scenario? Best case scenario is this forces the Padres' hands, and maybe they're a little bit more aggressive of who to go get.
Yeah.
Pivetta pitches a lot less innings this year, which means he's really good to go for that stretch run, and say the same thing for Musgrove. Now, all of a sudden, you're approaching August 1st, and it's like, hey, we got some horses that are ready to go. That's me trying to just spin this as positively as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is that's fair. And listen,
thank you.
I think it's fair.
I appreciate that.
But the thing with sports, and Dan Szymborski just said it, is like there's an inevitability. We talked about this, or I did. I think that in spring training, you're just hoping to dodge bullets. Someone's going to have like an ab strain. You just hope it's not your star, and you hope it's not 6 weeks. I mean, inevitably over 162 games. Here's a fascinating fact. Guess what? The Padres are going to put another player on the IL. You just hope it's not one of the stars.
How do you know that?
Because it's inevitable. Unfortunately, you just hope if it is a star, it's short term, or hopefully it isn't someone that's overly impactful, and you get quote unquote lucky. That's how this sport works. And Dan Szymborski's point was, listen, Dodgers, very good, but top heavy.
Brought him up a lot, by the way. He brought them up a lot. In a second, I'm like, I think he heard the last segment.
He must have. But if they lose a star or two for a significant period of time,
then they only have 8 other stars.
But it impacts their ceiling.
Yeah, listen, I think the the one thing I don't like with Dodger comparisons, I don't think it's a good comparison. I think the league is, you can't take the 2000 Yankees and make every comparison to that team.
I agree.
I think you just have to be in your own the teams you should be comparing yourself to if you're the Padres. You should look at the Diamondbacks. You should look at the Brewers. You should look at the Cubs. You should look at the Braves. Because I think all of these teams are in similar kind of situations and trajectories. The Dodgers are not. That's just if plan A doesn't work, they got a plan B. They have the way that the resources and the way that roster is built. I just don't like making comparisons to them because I don't think it benefits the Padres in any way.
What if we make a comparison to the Dodgers? No, all right.
What if we do it this way?
But even though you said you don't like comparisons to the Dodgers, let me make this Dodger comparison with you. Reasons for optimism 2.0 on Pivetta on the other side.
Okay.
Some really useful insight to share with you on the other side on Pivetta and what he's dealing with now and what he dealt with previously in his career that we'll share with you on the other side. Plus, we'll hear from Craig Stammen, his pregame comments with the media. Plus, coming up at 4:30, we'll talk more about the play-in, including the Clippers and the Warriors here tonight.
Can I plug one other thing?
Please.
Some San Diegans to call in? What do you guys do?
Sure.
You guys out cruising around right now? 877-767-4760. You're out cruising around. Pick up the phone. John might even pick up on the line. He might just pick it up directly. Weigh in on some of this Padre conversation.
Exactly. Can they overcome an injury to Nick Pivetta that could cost him 30 or more days? 877-767-4760. Hour 2, Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app is next.
This report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. The Padres and Mariners are getting set for game 2 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Emerson Hancock going for the M's and Randy Vasquez going for the Padres. First pitch is set for 6:40. The NBA released numbers today for the regular season showing that 170 million people in the U.S. watched NBA games across the league's 4 primary broadcast platforms. Those numbers are the league's best in the past 24 years, and the NBA said it represented an 86% rise over last season. And speaking of NBA, day 2 of the play-in games is tonight. Actually, about 30 minutes, Magic and 76ers, and then Warriors Clippers at 7 o'clock. For victims of drunk and drugs driving, your grief is unique, but you're not alone. You'll always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Schaefer and Sliwa. We're with you until 6 p.m. Adam Oslin, Clippers pre- and post-game host on 570 a.m. will join us at 4:30. The play-in tournament continues tonight, and it includes the Clippers and the Warriors.
Yeah, it's like a rivalry that, Oslin comes on, and I'm like, listen, I'll ask you a couple Clipper questions, but I'm doing it just because there's a game on.
Well, I thought you meant the rivalry was Warriors-Clippers.
There is a huge
L.A., Northern California, right?
When you think like Real Madrid, Barcelona, where is the Warriors and
it's below that,
or is it Miami and Charlotte now because of what went down yesterday?
We'll get into that this hour. I do want to get to the phones as well. 877-767-4760. But real quickly here, a really good follow for Padres fans is an account Too Much Morton's. And he tweeted out something that's pretty insightful. And here's the deal. Pavetta's injury in 2024 was a flexor strain. He missed a month. And on the other side, he threw 134 in 2/3 innings.
Wow. Okay.
So think about that. This only 2 years ago, the year before he was with San Diego, he missed a month. He had it in April. Missed 1 month. He returned to throw 134 in 2/3 innings. Now, we can't predict if that's the exact same thing that plays out, but that's
encouraging. Of course, it's encouraging.
He literally was placed on
the same thing for the same thing
with a right flexor strain.
That is encouraging. So, absolutely, that's very good insight.
So we'll keep our eyes on that. But again, he's going to miss time. He's going to miss.
He'll miss time. But I'll go back to the same thing that we said a little bit earlier. All you're looking for is, can we make sure that in the next 60 days, Pavetta's back on the mound doing his thing? If that's accomplished, then they will figure out how to weather the storm.
Let's go to the phones, 877-767-4760. Let's start with King. I don't think related to Michael King. King, you're on with Schaefer and Sliwa. Thanks for calling in. What's going on, man?
Guys, thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
Cruising around San Diego.
That's a tough
Trader
one.
Joe's.
There you go.
Weekly wine pickup.
Get in there. Get in there, man.
Hey, so Pavetta being out is absolutely disastrous for our Friars. Even with a healthy Pavetta, I was pessimistic on the starting rotation. I don't know if we can trust Vasquez all season. Bueller's going to be inconsistent. If he's missing serious time, we might be talking about being sellers at the trade deadline, guys. This lineup scares me. The strong suit is, of course, our bullpen, but this is bigger news than I think we all want to admit at this point. That's my take. Have a great one, guys.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you. I think I respect it because I've seen wheels fall off based on starting pitching 2021. I think that's a little overly.
I was just going to say a little
pessimistic.
overreaction. I think that's a little overreaction.
Because we don't know how long he's going to be out.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of their rotation, like Michael King yesterday, goes 6 really good innings.
Yeah.
Randy Vasquez is a 1 ERA.
Yeah. One thing on the Vasquez, how are you not confident that Randy Vasquez can hold some of this stuff up? Like, I'm not telling you that he's got to be a 1 ERA. I mean, of course, he's going to have some bad outings, but my concern is not Randy Vasquez. My concern is, what are you getting from Buehler and Marquez? My concern is, are there other guys is Waldron going to be able to step up and give you a couple of good starts? My concern is more that. But I think when Pivetta was healthy, I got a difficult time looking at what this team has done so far against early on and not think that they got a pretty decent squad. Nobody's saying they're going to go win 100 games. What's the goal to get into a wild card?
88.
What's the goal to have those 3 games at Petco Park? I mean, that's really your goal. I don't think you're fighting for the division. And as much as you want to look at it and say they're only this many games out, but I think based off of what we've already seen, I got to feel more optimistic than I felt 2 weeks ago about this team.
I would be shocked if they were sellers at the deadline. I understand it's a long amount of time and a lot can happen, but for them to be sellers, it goes way beyond Nick Pivetta for me. Because sellers means you're not in it at the deadline. To your point, you only need 87 wins to make the postseason. You're telling me we're going to know in July that they don't have a path to mid-80s wins? That would be a disaster.
If you're 500
you're not
before the deadline, are you a seller?
No way.
Are they not around 500 by the time you get to the deadline?
I'd be very surprised if they were out of it.
That's the only thing I think there's a little bit for me that I feel more optimistic about the Padres today than I did feel a couple of weeks ago. I don't feel good about Nick Pivetta being out. I don't want to, of course, not having Nick Pivetta is a big thing, but to be sellers, you're conceding a lot. Like there's a message being sent that I don't think the Padres are ready to send. And you could look at previous seasons where they could have been sellers or they could have just maybe been less aggressive. And they've actually put their foot more on the throttle than you thought they would.
Yeah, I just don't see it as a death knell. I see it as like, it's not good news that Nick Pivetta is out, but the idea that all of a sudden the entire complexion of the regular season has changed, I think probably is going too far. Plus, we don't know. He might be 2 years ago. He was back in 30 days. Let's go back to the phones. 877-767-4760. Marcus, you are on with Schaefer and Sliwa. Thanks for calling in.
What's up, guys? I don't know, man. Everybody's like doom and gloom. I have a little more, and you know what, you guys. It's so funny because every time I say something, your last comment always like shoots me down. But let's look at this thing, okay? Our bats are way more alive right now when we were having problems last year with pitching. So, number one, that's better now. Number two, we have most of the guys we still have from last year. Okay. So I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
Appreciate you calling in.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Appreciate you calling in. I mean,
you think he's going to like Sprouts?
Maybe, potentially.
I wonder if there's like, maybe a little rivalry on the roads.
Here's what I would say in general about the conversation over the first hour. And this happens a lot in sports. It's never as good as you think it is. It's rarely as bad as you think it is, especially in a sport like baseball that plays out in a trickle effect.
Mm-hmm.
Let's let it breathe for a second. The Pivetta injury doesn't mean all of a sudden
they're sellers at the deadline.
It's a tailspin for the next 30 days even. But just like their 11-6 start doesn't mean they'll play 650 baseball for the next 30 days. Let's let it settle in and let's look up 30 or 40 games into the year and see where they are. But yeah, it's hard to have a strong opinion on what the injury means, not knowing the extent of the injury.
It's going to hurt them. Period.
Yeah,
I mean, for the time that they're out, it's going to be it's a gut punch, and they're gonna for 2 months. You're gonna ask the question more often than not. When Pivetta usually takes the ball, when he's on the mound, I feel good.
Right.
Even if he starts out the season and gives up 4 runs before anybody sits down, and we're 6 minutes into our broadcast. Yep. But I feel good when Pivetta has it. Well, now you're going to have X amount of starts where it's not Pivetta. It's a guy that you're not going to feel good about or confident about, or you have no idea. So I think from that perspective, there's some truth to some of these calls if they are negative about the circumstance.
A lot of our listeners, are living and dying on this. They've followed the Padres for a long, long time. You and I have followed the Padres or baseball for a long, long time. It's just very rarely are you pointing to a specific moment in like April and be like,
that's it.
That was it. I'm not saying there's not an example. I'm sure there is.
Oh, yeah. Big time stars with a season-ending surgery.
But also to, again, put bows on these conversations, to your earlier point, it's not October 2nd. October 2nd, you got problems that are hard to overcome. I'd rather have a problem now with time to overcome it than a problem then when you have no options to overcome it.
You Trader Joe's guy or no? I'm still kind of
Trader Joe's.
Yeah,
I mean,
a fan.
Are you? If you were ranking, are you a Whole Foods guy?
No, I'll tell you where are you looking for the number one like power ranking grocery
Sprouts?
store? Brother, Sprouts is just like that's the place. Like if they were going to do like, hey, we're going to stay open late and we're bringing a DJ at 11, I'm going to Sprouts.
You would go to Sprouts.
I would go to
DJ.
Sprouts. Yeah.
What is it that separates Sprouts from Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Vons, anything?
All right, here's where by the way, I didn't know we didn't put 412. We're doing Sprouts talk, but we'll get into this right now. I think for me, Sprouts, you got great sandwiches. The deli is good.
Guy at a grocery
the deli is good. Don't like throw it away. Like the way you did that, the way you dismissed it.
Yeah,
and I don't understand why you dismissed it. Okay?
I don't eat a lot of sandwiches because I don't eat meat.
Well, you don't have to have meat. You got a lot of other options
kind of
there too.
Of money.
Okay, you're probably not wrong in that.
Right.
Got that good selection. I think their produce is solid. You know what? You want to go in there and get a rotisserie chicken and just get yourself out and now you're using the chicken for some other things.
What are you using the chicken for? To eat, right?
Yeah, but you can use the chicken like that's your protein. But maybe you made rice already at home. You got vegetables at home too. The chicken comes in and kind of complements the rest. You don't have to make the chicken. Was the point that I'm making?
Like talk to or like, hey, this chicken it makes for a. What else can you, do with the chicken?
That's what I meant. I meant basically the chicken will be used as part of the protein team.
I like at a grocery store a good drink selection. Like I want 35 kombucha flavors. I want 35 protein drinks. I want 35 like
Sprouts
juice.
Giving you that?
Yes, they do.
Okay,
they do.
And they got a lot. By the way, they got a lot of the local brews. A lot of them you can go get Coronado Brewing. You can go get some Pizza Port. Like they got also some good brew there too.
You're a big grocery guy, like grocery market guy, right?
Yeah. Like tell me what you want right now. Do you want in my backpack right now? I can probably get you 3-4 items.
Yeah, what do you have? Like arugula? You got tomatoes?
60% off. Like we're doing I have a farmer's market in my car.
Bring in your bag. I want to see what you have in your car right now related to a grocery store. Let's get to the wrap. On the other side, we'll talk about the Clippers and the Warriors coming up at 4:30. Is there fallout from the dirty play from LaMelo Ball last night against Bam in the playing game? That and more here until 6. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Schaefer and Sliwa here on San Diego Sports 760. We'll get to the wrap. I wanted to mention this, Alan. Thank you to, let me find, it's a Z Tabby on Instagram. You know Z Tabby. He said, he messaged us and said, and by the way, we're on Instagram. I don't even think you follow us on Instagram, but I don't think you use Instagram.
I blocked you. I blocked us.
You'd be blocking yourself.
Blocked us.
At Schaefer and Sliwa on Instagram. If you follow us right now, as you hear this, we will follow you back.
Yeah, 100%.
At Schaefer and Sliwa.
Like it.
But Z Tabby says, and this is good context, he says a flexor strain is directly linked to the UCL, the ligament in your elbow, which again, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. He says it could easily turn into Tommy John, especially considering his injury history. He did have it 2 years ago.
Jesus, this is too much of a roller coaster.
And the fact that 2 years ago he had the same issue. Important context. Thank you, Z Tabby. He could be like our doctor. We could turn to Z Tabby whenever there's an injury.
Do you ever just not want to hear what the doctor has to say? I think in this case, if it's negative, I think I'm going to go from following him to blocking him.
Are you a doctor guy? Like, do you go to the doctor? Like, you go to the doctor, you get the checkup.
I get the once a year.
You get the this, that, and the others.
Yeah, once a year. You at the dentist every 6 months?
Yeah, I do, because the theory being, if you don't, all of a sudden you go back 2 years later, like, you got a problem. Like, you should have been here 18 months ago.
Like 8-9 months right now. I haven't been.
No,
I canceled
I can't
the
deal
dentist
with it.
appointment.
I hate them. Not the dentist.
Wow.
I hate the appointment. I despise the sound of that thing on your teeth.
Just the worst. Nothing worse.
It's 2026.
You got to get some technology that's doing something else.
Put me under or something.
Oh,
you know.
And then when they're cleaning, some people like the cleaning. I just like there's water going all over the place. It's shooting. I'm like, I got water in my eye.
I can't deal with that. Serious question. Am I allowed? I've never done this, but I've thought about it recently. Can I put AirPods in during the cleaning and do the noise cancellation feature? Because it's the noise also. I want more quiet or music.
Yeah, you can do AirPods.
I could, right?
Yeah. Okay. You can record a podcast.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Probably won't do that.
I wouldn't do that. All right, coming up in 10 minutes on the show, Adam Oslin covers the Clippers, pre- and post-game host on 570. Clippers and Warriors coming up tonight. But right now, let's get to this.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Who wins tonight's Clippers-Warriors showdown?
Clippers-Warriors showdown. So Clippers are home. Lakers got a chance to play the Warriors. This was right before the regular season ended. And Steph did not play. Neither did Porzingis. Neither did Al Horford. I feel like I could have ran on the squad for the Lakers and they could have still won. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take the Clippers. I think the Clippers playing at home. I want to say I kind of trust them a little bit more. I think the Warriors, when they're hot, they're good. When they're not, they're really bad. I got to take a squad. I'm taking the Clippers.
Clippers minus 5.5. This is a team that was 6-21, closed 36-19. All right, so has played well. They were good at home, not great on the season.
Okay.
Again, laying 5.5. I'll throw out the number and take the Clippers. I don't know what the score will be. I will take the Clippers at home tonight. Maybe the biggest Clippers game since
94.
By Clippers standards, it's not the smallest game.
No, they had some really big moments in the playoffs with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. The problem is they never got over.
I thought they had
the hump.
A good team in the bubble.
They did have a good team in the bubble.
They have a 3-1 lead in the bubble.
They had a 3-1 lead over Denver, and I think they were up double digits in each one of those games.
Oh.
Absolutely collapsed, and then the Lakers got the Nuggets, and we still haven't seen the Lakers and the Clippers face each other in the playoffs.
That's unbelievable. Next question.
Is Randy Vasquez the best Padres starter?
All right, let me tell you what I like about this question. I like that that's a question. I'm serious. Think about this. No, he's not. I think Michael King is still the best. That's the guy that if you told me you got one game on the line, give Michael King, obviously give him the ball. Now, I know with the Pavetta injury, that's something, it's a different conversation. Mm-hmm. But you can have a legitimate conversation today. Someone could pick up the phone and say, I'm very, very confident. I'm as confident in Randy Vasquez as I am of any of these starters. That's in itself is a great story there because Randy Vasquez is becoming more and more relied upon on this Padres team, and that's obviously phenomenal stuff. You were telling me before we were prepping, when you look at who they got for Juan Soto.
Well, they got Michael King. They got Randy Vasquez.
Vasquez isn't talked about enough. He's becoming more and more dependent. Not the best pitcher, but still phenomenal for us.
I would take, again, all things equal, a.k.a. healthy, I would take him as the third best pitcher in the rotation. And that's no disrespect because I think Nick Pivetta and Michael King at their best, I'm taking over him. But he could still emerge as their best pitcher over the course of this season. I think he's their second best starter right now with Pivetta out to Michael King, which I think is terrific. And hopefully he keeps it up. Next question.
Who wins tonight's playing game between Philadelphia and Orlando?
Philly and Orlando. Where's the game at? Is it in Philly
It's
or
in
Orlando?
Philly.
It's in Philadelphia? Philadelphia rocking home court there.
No Embiid.
Yeah, no Embiid.
What do you have? An appendectomy? Come on. Get out there.
Or I got Orlando.
Man.
I'm taking Orlando.
You're taking Orlando?
Taking the Magic. Yep.
The Sixers lay 1.5 tonight.
Paulo Banchero's a nice player. They got some guys in there. They play hard. They had two really, really good competitive games against the Lakers. I like them over Philly.
I think if you're Philly, if you're Maxey, you take out Banchero early, like LaMelo Ball yesterday.
Yeah,
was
LaMelo had a
You're good.
very interesting game plan on Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, I'm going to take. I'll take the Sixers at home. You don't just walk into whatever the name of their arena is and leave with a win. I mean, you could.
Yeah, I think you're making it sound like the Sixers have this
Amazing.
Yeah.
They were 23-18 at home. Not exactly amazing.
Yeah, you're making it sound like they're the freaking 94. I don't know. Pick a.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know who's good 94.
98
Maybe the
Yankees.
Rockets.
Yeah.
We're good. But Sixers is the 7-8 game. It's not a must win for either of these teams, but I'll take the Sixers at home. They're favored by 1.5. Next question.
Should LaMelo Ball be suspended a game for his dirty play on Bam last night?
All right, I hate this story because by the way, you have to apologize. You need to send an email to the NBA about the playing tournament.
I will. I liked the play-in last night. I made that point before you walked into the crossover. I said, my bad. I was wrong.
Okay, good.
I don't like the concept, but then when I watched it play out in real time, I liked the theater. It was
Now,
good,
here's the
compelling
problem: you're
tone.
going to get 2 blowouts today. You're going to go back to your old opinion, so you don't have to.
Maybe.
You don't have to switch so quick.
No, I switched legitimately.
Okay, so original question was LaMelo. That was a really good game yesterday, and it was exciting, and the game went to overtime, and you got some new blood in the NBA, which is good, which is Charlotte, LaMelo, Concanipple. You're watching some Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, another player. You're watching some good young talent in the league. Yes, I think he should be suspended, and I hate to say that. If Bam Adebayo doesn't get injured, Miami wins that game. If Bam Adebayo doesn't get injured, we're not saying LaMelo had a really dirty play that affected the outcome of the game. The problem is it affected the outcome of the game. Bam Adebayo played 11 minutes yesterday. So I kind of think, I hate to say this, I think you got to suspend LaMelo Ball for a game.
If you don't, what are you saying as a league and what message are you sending? You can't have it in the sport. There's no place for it. I'm not saying he did it with some ridiculous intent or tried to injure the player.
I agree, but
the
he
player
got
hurt.
injured.
When you grab a leg like that on the floor, there's no real spot for that. These are meaningful games. It's not, the NBA Finals, but these are meaningful. And it's going to suck for the Hornets to be without him. But based on his actions, I think he's got to sit for a game. We'll see what the league determines over the next 24 hours.
Yeah, I kind of agree on that.
Yeah, it's an interesting story, though. All right, we're going to hit on tonight's games, including the Clippers with Adam Oslin, covers the Clippers. He does pre and post for them on 570 AM. He'll join us next. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. The Padres and Mariners are getting ready for game 2 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Emerson Hancock going against Randy Vasquez. First pitch is set for 6:40. The NBA released numbers today for the regular season showing that 170 million people in the U.S. watched NBA games across the league's 4 primary broadcast platforms. Those numbers are league's best in 24 years, and the NBA said that it was an 86% increase over last season. And it's day 2 of the play-in games tonight in the NBA. The Magic and 76ers are getting set to tip off here in about the next 5 minutes. And the Warriors and Clippers are going to play at 7 o'clock. Both those games are streamed on Amazon Prime. Choosing the right home service company isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about trusting who's in your home. That's why homeowners count on Anderson for friendly professional service that keeps everything running right. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
All right, we're talking Clippers and Warriors momentarily with Adam Oslin, Clippers pre- and post-game host on AM 570. Clippers and Warriors coming up tonight. I want to start with this with him, Alan, when we have him in a moment. Did you realize this? Have you seen this stat? Kawhi Leonard,
okay,
you know the name. Through your time covering the NBA. Yeah. Kawhi Leonard is the first player in NBA history to average a career high in year 14 of his career or later.
Wow.
That's insane. That's insane.
Actually, you know who I'm surprised that it's not? I'm surprised it's not LeBron.
Average a career high in scoring?
He's been, as in 14 years in, something along those lines.
14 years in is your previous 13 years, you never averaged in scoring what you averaged in your 14th year or later.
LeBron's been so good for so long.
No,
and when he's in his 14th, 15th year, honestly, it's like prime LeBron. Rather than being in your prime 8 or 9 years in, LeBron is still putting up some crazy numbers. So
I'm going to look
interesting that it's Kawhi.
So so LeBron, for example, what would you think is his highest, this is so per game average?
I don't think he got to, did he get to 30? The problem with LeBron, he's freaking so many assists. I'll say 20. No, I'll say 30.
Why do they make this so hard on Basketball Reference?
What
they do they don't do the points per game like they used to.
Send him an email.
It's all cute.
Send him an email right now.
I can look at NBA.com, but we don't need to get cute. Just show me points per game.
Basketballreference@gmail.com.
But don't you agree?
I know.
I know.
Stats. No, I know.
I don't need to know. Anyway, so points per game for LeBron.
30.
I'm now more mad at these websites.
It's okay, let go of it. Don't worry about
it.
I'm going to find it.
Are you going to find his career points per game every year? What is this?
All right. Now I got to make sure we're good.
Oh, here it is. So what do you think LeBron's high is?
I'll go 30.8.
I think it might be 30.0 to your. No, it was 30. That's your point. You might be right. He averaged 30.3 in 2022.
Yeah, that's probably right there. But but he
averaged 31.4 his third year in the NBA.
Oh, wow.
31.4 in 2005-06.
Okay, so that's the number. Yeah. That's the number.
He's not picking up? He's not answering.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll try to get Adam Oslin on, again, Clippers and Warriors coming up here tonight. We haven't really touched on this.
You buy time. I got this.
You go call him. Go call him. Let's touch on this a little more. What played out last night with LaMelo and Bam, as we're talking a little bit about the NBA. Again, do I think it's the worst foul I've ever seen on a basketball floor? No, I really don't. Do I think he meant to hurt him? No, I don't think his intent was to hurt him. I just think it was a reactionary moment. He's on the floor. He clutches at his leg. Then Bam falls over and he doesn't return to the game. But again, I go back to this point. What message are you sending? What message are you sending if he's able to play in his next game? That's just my point. It's there isn't room for it in the NBA. Why would you want, it completely changed the complexion of the game. Bam doesn't play after the second quarter, and then the Heat lose in overtime. So it's so easy to argue the Heat just would have won the game if he was healthy. And now the Hornets are moving on and the Heat aren't. So I would just say, well, hold on. The Hornets are now moving on and the Heat aren't. It's a direct result of what played out on the floor with LaMelo and Bam. He's got to sit for a game. We'll get more into it. All right. Adam Oslin is with us right now, covers the Clippers on AM 570, does pre and post. Of course, Clippers and Warriors coming up in the play-in tournament later on tonight. We just touched on this, Adam, and appreciate you joining us here in San Diego. I found this stat to be fascinating. You've watched this play out. Kawhi's the first player in NBA history to average a career high in scoring in his 14th year or later. What's it been like from your seat to watch what he's accomplished this year in LA?
Oh, it's been pretty remarkable to do this now, this late into his career. At the age of 34, I don't know if I've ever seen him look better in the regular season. And I've seen every game he's played with the Clippers. I watched San Antonio. I watched the Toronto Raptors. But when you talk about Kawhi, I think it just goes back to finally having a healthy offseason for the first time in 5 years where he didn't have to go under the knife. So he was in a better position to actually train and work as rigorous as he does. And guys talk about his legendary training routines. He was able to get after it. And after he got hurt early in the season where the Clippers got off to that 6-21 start, part of that is because he missed 10 straight games and they lost 9 of those 10 games. So it tells you how much they were missing without him. But Kawhi's been spectacular. I think he should be all first team NBA. If you ask me, it should be him. Luka Doncic should get that exception. SGA, Wemby, Nikola Jokic. There's your all NBA first team. But Kawhi has been remarkable, and something he added to his game in year 14 was just taking more off-the-bounce three-pointers. So even this late into his career, he's still refining his game. He's still getting better. It's been a pleasure to watch.
Adam, always appreciate you coming on, brother. So my question is more, let me play a hypothetical here. And I do think the Clippers win tonight. If you say pick one of these two teams, I think they win. Let me just play out this. Clippers lose tonight. That's it. Their season ends. And as good of a second half of the season that they had, or after the 6-21, what's the future of the Clippers? Is it start building and start looking at youth and take the Darius Garlands of the world and the Benedict Mathurin's, and just I'm curious what the next couple of years look like for the Clippers, where you kind of know their window is pretty much closed on the Kawhi, Paul George, of course, that era. But what's the future look like?
I think it starts with two things. What happens with the aspiration investigation with Kawhi Leonard? Could his contract be voided if there was any wrongdoing found? Would they trade him if not? Because he has 1 year left on his contract for about $50 million. Would that be the move should nothing come of it? Would he rather go to a team that has a better chance of competing right now? And what can you get in return for him? But it really comes down to the ruling with the NBA and the fallout from that. I was a little bit surprised with the reports coming out, I guess, near the trade deadline. Ironically, the Golden State Warriors were the team that were inquiring about Kawhi Leonard. And then earlier today, we hear about the Miami Heat. But I don't think any team would trade for him until they know if there's going to be a suspension, if his contract could get voided, if the Clippers, maybe they just get penalized, a fine, first-round picks, something like that, which would be devastating, obviously, for this franchise that has lost so many first-round picks. But speaking of that, they got 2 from Indiana for Ivica Zubac. It wasn't just getting Benedict Mathurin. And one of them could come this year. It's top 4 protected from Indiana. Obviously, I think they finished with one of the top 3 worst records in the league, so they have a 14% chance of getting the number 1 overall pick. But if it falls anywhere between 5 and 9, it goes to the Clippers. And if they don't get it this year, they at least get it in 2031. 2031. And they have their 2029 first-round pick as well. So they do have some building blocks. You mentioned Darius Garland there, Alan. He's been good for this team, but we want to see when that pressure is applied in games like this, if they can get into a playoff series, just how much teams scheme him up and hunt him, because that has been something that I've watched in Cleveland because of his size, because of his stature. Is he your main guy moving forward and you just build around that? Is Kawhi going to stay around for his final year? Does he want to leave, or does he want to stay in Los Angeles where, he's got family obviously in San Diego? So a lot is going to depend first on the investigation, then where that first-round pick falls with Indiana, and then we'll see where the Clippers go from there.
All right, great perspective from Adam Oslin. Covers the Clippers, does pre and post on 570 AM in LA. Speaking of tonight, this playing game between the Clippers and the Warriors, how do you see it playing out? What are some of the keys?
Well, I think this was the better of the 3 teams that the Clippers could have matched up against in the play-in. You don't want to see them in the 9-10 because it's one and done. It's do or die. And obviously whoever wins this goes to Phoenix on Friday. But The Golden State Warriors, like the Clippers, aren't a great rebounding team. They aren't the most physical team out there. Portland gave the Clippers a lot of problems the last couple of weeks, beating them twice. Otherwise, the Clippers would have been in that 7-8 play-in game, but they fell down the stretch multiple times. Denny Avdia is obviously having a career year, and he's taken off. And last night, he put everybody on notice, and he put the Clippers in a world of pain as well. So Golden State, stylistically, I think is a better matchup for the Clippers. And we also don't know how many minutes Steph Curry is going to be playing. Porzingis out there, Al Horford. Steve Kerr said after they played each other on Sunday in an inconsequential game, it turned out to be in Game 82 right here at Intuit Dome as we run it back tonight in the play-in game. Steve Kerr said that, well, they'll still be on minutes restrictions because Steph is still coming back from jumper's knee. He's had some issues. He wasn't even sure if he was going to be able to return this season. So if you get Golden State with guys limited out there because they haven't played a ton of games, and Steph and Porzingis have only played 3 games together so far, that chemistry isn't fully built up. I think that is advantageous for the Clippers, but I would have told you guys a couple of weeks ago, oh, they wouldn't be in this spot to begin with because they would have handled business in at least one of the games against Portland. They just needed one of them to get in the 7-8 and then get into a series with San Antonio possibly instead, because best case scenario right now for the Clippers is you win both the play-in games and you're taking on OKC in the first round.
Adam, the path here, of course, for the Clippers is going to be tough, but I know you're also following the NBA and covering a lot of the rest of the league. Just staying in the Western Conference, you mentioned the Thunder. Let's put OKC to the side here for a quick second. Let's fast forward, and it's the San Antonio Spurs versus the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. Do you give San Antonio a legitimate shot at potentially taking down the champs? We know what they were able to do against them in the regular season, but a lot of players, great players, Victor Wembanyama being the head of that snake. A lot of these guys don't have playoff experience. What do you think if we had that type of a matchup?
I'll say this. The tougher road is what San Antonio is going to have to go through, because to get to OKC, they'll have to beat Denver. And I'm not so sure about that, because I believe if Denver's fully healthy, they might be better than OKC this season. They took them to 7 last season. They've had so many injuries going on.
Yeah.
If they can actually get healthy at the right time, beat San Antonio in the second round and get to OKC, that could be problematic. Now, San Antonio, you mentioned they beat them 3 times in 12 days earlier this season, and it was very impressive, and it got eyeballs their way, and they've been fantastic. I think they've had the best record since January 8th or something like that in the NBA. They have been dominant. Wemby's taken his game to the next level. He's been more physical this season. The defense, it's always been stellar, but offensively, obviously, he's getting 25 points per game now. And they are ahead of schedule. The thing is, you got to get that seasoning sometimes. We saw it with OKC, actually, in the second round in 2024 when they lost to the Dallas Mavericks when they were the number 1 seed. They had to get those playoff reps in. They came back the next season. Last year, they win it all. San Antonio might be in the same spot. So I would take Denver and OKC over them still if they got to that point.
Adam, appreciate you hopping on. We're looking forward to tonight. I wasn't the biggest believe. What would you want?
I thought you were going to ask me the question. No, the hot dog.
What hot dog?
Were there hot dogs falling from the?
My wife and son. I have a 7-year-old, and he's like a diehard Clippers fan. We love Kawhi because of San Diego State. But their takeaway from going last Wednesday when OKC was in town,
they went to the game and
went to the game and into it. They sat like 5th row. They spent all this money. They were so thankful everyone played. But the biggest takeaway from the whole thing was hot dogs falling from the sky. You know what I'm talking about?
They do have them coming out of parachutes.
There it is.
Right?
So just straight up a hot dog.
Tell Ballmer nobody cares about the roster. Just drop more hot dogs and
more hot dogs.
Fill the place.
More hot dogs.
Adam, appreciate it. Enjoy tonight.
All right, I'm going down to the cafeteria to get a couple myself. Right
there
now.
You go. There you go. Appreciate it,
Make
man.
sure parachute's on it. All right, thanks again to Adam Oslin, covers the Clippers on AM.
Got a good spread there. I'm going to give it Intuit Dome for the media.
Yeah, forget about everything else.
For the media?
All I care about is the spread. And
nice spread for the media. You don't always get that. Walking there like a king.
Let's hear from Craig Stammen on the other side.
All right, let's do it.
He has spoken with the media. Also, what did Eric Spoelstra have to say about LaMelo going after Bam? You'll hear that in the 5 o'clock hour here on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760 congratulates our winners, and iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. There's still time to donate to a classroom project, and your donation will be matched by Donors Choose. Help us say thank you to the educators shaping our future now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers. We can hear from Craig Stammen coming up, Alan. He has spoken on Nick Pivetta, which remains the story of the day. Despite the fact, it's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know where you're going.
I'm going with the Padres have won 6 straight, but the
headline, the main story,
it's like overshadowing.
Overshadowing. That's a good word.
It's overshadowing what the Padres have done on the field even since Sunday.
Yeah,
because he gets hurt Sunday and it's dominated the headlines. But they've played now multiple games since Sunday and they've won them. Have they played multiple games since Sunday? No, they played one.
They had the off day on Monday. Yesterday they started the Mariners series.
They play this clean game behind Michael King and get clutch
Beautiful
hits.
game.
Xander has 3 hits. Mason Miller comes out and
go
has
up
save.
against a tough pitcher in Seattle who they've had trouble with before.
So everything on field is good.
Yeah.
Now there's the off field concern with Nick Pivetta. Where does this start, Brent, with Craig Stammen? I'm assuming it's on. Did I send it to you? I didn't send it to him.
You send it to him. I'll talk. Okay.
Just talk.
All right. I'll just talk. It has overshadowed everything for a reason, right? When you're getting off to as good of a start as you are, and all of a sudden out of nowhere you lose your ace, and now there isn't this real clarity of, hey, we know exactly how long he's going to be out for. We have this, could be 2 weeks. No. Let me start with this. He could potentially not miss a start was the first part of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Then, obviously now it's more could miss a couple of weeks, could miss a couple of months. There's just such this variance that it is overshadowing their success.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So Craig Stammen, again, just sat down with the media. There are updates in here on Nick Pivetta and more. Again, Padres and Mariners play game 2 tonight. Randy Vasquez will be on the mound. Padres looking for a 7-game win streak. I mean, that's a pretty big number. You can go a full season without winning 7 consecutive games.
I think they've won 9 of 10 too. Is it 8 of 9 or 9 of 10?
Doing this, right?
Well, because I had the 2-loss record, which was
9-2 in their last 11. But you were saying that yesterday. Have they won 9 of 10?
I'll tell you right now.
They've won 6 straight. They were 2-5.
They've
won 9 of 10. They were 2-5.
Are you good? You don't need me to check the standings. You've done the math.
I've done the math.
They're 9-1 in their last
10. All right, Craig Stammen on Nick Pivetta's status. Here it is.
Got the MRI, came back with a flexor strain. Disappointing. We didn't think it was going to be, that significant, but ended up being a flexor strain, and he's going to rehab it and take some time off and then get it right.
I know it's probably early, but is there any sort of timeline, an idea on what the exact next steps are in terms of rehab?
Yeah, I think we're kind of discussing exactly what that looks like. He's definitely going to take some time off throwing, let it rest, let it heal, and then get back on the throwing program and strengthening program. So it's probably going to be more weeks and maybe months than it is just specific days. So he's going to take some time, but we feel pretty confident he's going to get back this year.
Is there any relief on maybe it not being more serious than that, I guess? Was there a concern that it could be?
I guess so. Yeah, it's relief that we feel like he can rehab it and come back. Yes, there's relief in that. I remember when I tore my flexor, his is not torn, his is strained. But when I tore one, I didn't really know anything about the difference. Told the doctor, I said, well, that's a good thing. It's not my ligament. And he said, well, we'll see about that. And he was right. It's very significant. And anytime you're dealing with the pitcher's elbow, there's always something going on. But, I think Nick's in a good spot. He's ready to tackle this rehab. And I think, like I said, we feel good that he's going to make it back.
Craig, do they grade those out, like strain 1, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3? Is there any way to give an idea of the severity of his particular strain?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, the doctors probably can be able to do that, but I'm not an expert on reading MRIs and all that kind of stuff. But, we've consulted multiple doctors, and they kind of came to the consensus that this is what it is. And, he just needs a certain amount of time off, and then he can start throwing again and try to get him back.
It being weeks or months, I know we asked you about what you have in your rotation. How do you cover that with the guys that you have, knowing that Joe is also not a little bit of ways away?
Yeah, I mean, we got 5 good guys that are going to be in the rotation right now. So that's one way to do it. All those guys stay healthy and they keep pitching well. And then we've also got Griff coming and Joe eventually hopefully coming and Nick hopefully eventually coming back too. And then you never know. There's always people in the minor leagues that sneak through, have a great season, and they're ready to, make their major league debut. And I know we've got a great farm system that'll be able to support us throughout the year.
Just a day for Fernando, kind of continuing here. Can you kind of go into, I know we've asked you a lot about your lineups and giving guys days off. The amount of success the guys on the bench have had, like in your eyes, is that a product of like guys like having a really good bench and or B, like them being able to play as regularly as they have?
Yeah, I think all probably has some contributor to it. It obviously makes it a lot easier to give days off to, some of our everyday players because the bench players are playing so well and we feel good about their at-bats. I think when they play more often, their at-bats are probably a little bit better. It's definitely harder. Bryce has probably played the least out of all the guys on the bench, and, it's just tougher to, get an at-bat once every 5 days or once every 6 days. But if you're getting an at-bat every other day or 2 out every 3 or 2 out every 4, it's, hopefully a little easier, I think, to be comfortable in the box. So we're trying to manage all that together and, piece it all together, see how it works out.
How did you come to this philosophy, like of kind of wanting to play the long game with some of your stars? What convinced you that was the right approach?
Probably because I know that playing 162 games is a hard thing to do, and there's not that many guys that can do it, and then also sustain, the level of production that we want out of these guys or hope that we can get out of these guys for a full season. And I think looking back in my past, like watching how managers did it, Davey Johnson comes to mind of how he kind of did it this way, and he allowed the bench to be a big part of the team, and it helped team chemistry. It helped everybody feel like they had a say in us winning a lot of games that year. I saw it work out really well in that fashion and felt like this was an opportunity to do the same thing with, the bench that we have.
I know you're talking about faith in the guys you have on this roster and in the system, but how aggressive do you expect AJ Color to be looking for someone else?
AJ and aggressive are synonyms. So, AJ's going to do his thing. He's already done his thing with this roster. He's put together a great roster, and, he never stops thinking about it, never stops trying to improve it. And so, that's why it's fun to work with AJ and be in the fight with him. Great. Yeah, I think he's off to, I don't think he's here today. I think he's off to El Paso to make his next rehab start. So all full steam ahead.
All right, we're going to react to Craig Stammen's pregame comments with the media on the other side. We're here until 6 p.m., hour 3, Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app is next.
This report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. The Padres and Mariners are getting set for game 2 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Emerson Hancock going for Seattle and Randy Vasquez on the hill for the Friars. First pitch is set for 6:40. In NBA news, the league released numbers today for the regular season showing that 170 million people in the U.S. watched NBA games across the 4 primary broadcast platforms. Those numbers are the league's best in 24 years, and the league also said that it was an 86% rise over last season. It's day 2 of the play-in games in the NBA right now with about 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. We're all tied at 18 between the Magic and 76ers, and then coming up at 7 o'clock, we've got Warriors Clippers. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You'll always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of Schaefer and Sliwa. We're with you until 6 p.m. reacting to the news that Nick Pivetta has spoken on his injury. So has Craig Stammen on Nick Pivetta as the Padres go for a 7th consecutive win tonight in game 2 of their series against the Seattle Mariners. I have additional perspective to provide on Pivetta's injury. Okay, Alan?
We're by the way, I think we've done a pretty phenomenal job of breaking down every angle on Pivetta. Because every time we hit something new
angle
comes out.
Thank you. Well, this is from our like Dr. Insider Z Tappy on Instagram. So I don't know. Somebody DM me. He's a listener of the show. He's a listener of the station. And he initially chimed in by being like, hey, listen, just because it's a flexor strain doesn't mean he won't eventually need a Tommy John. That's directly tied to this UCL ligament that is tied to Tommy John. Okay, thank you for that perspective. I appreciate it. He followed up. This is interesting. Now, again, I haven't seen this, but this is according to Z Tappy, right? Like it's Z Tappy.
It's Z Tappy, and it's Instagram.
It's Instagram and it's Z Tappy.
Right. If
so
it was
basically
like
take it as gold.
If it was X, I'd be like, I don't know.
But it's Z Tappy. He said one more thing that hasn't been covered much, but in Pivetta's contract, listen to this, is a clause that if he spends more than 130,
I've seen this.
If he spends 130 consecutive games on the IL in 2026, his player option for next year becomes a team option.
14. I want to say 14, that number.
What? That number would be 14 for next year. The option.
I thought that's what I saw, but maybe I'm wrong on the number. But no matter what, the team option.
But think about that, because in a worst case, which again, hopefully they're preventing. That's we're all hoping Pivetta's back. Pivetta, the team, fans. But if he isn't, if he were to undergo Tommy John tomorrow or have an injury that sidelined him for the rest of the year for whatever reason, the Padres do not have to keep him in 2027. A lot of these contracts are, well, the player can just opt in. I think Michael King's, for example.
Yeah, he
can just opt into next year if this doesn't go well this year. Something to consider. Again, that's kind of a worst case, because that only happens 130 consecutive games is if the rest of the year he's out.
Yeah.
Essentially. Again, hopefully it's something we don't need to worry about.
That's one. I mean, of all these angles right now, the only thing,
like that one.
Yeah, the angle that I'm sitting on is we're going to get Pivetta back. And if I play this as positive as I can and try to be as optimistic on this, get Pivetta back 2 months from today, he's back on the mound and he's Nick Pivetta.
Mm-hmm.
And if he is, and Michael King is holding up and Randy Vasquez is pitching well, and we'll see if is there new ownership by then, and is new ownership saying that, hey, we want to make sure that we're giving San Diego we want to give them the proper vibe of new ownership, and we want to show that we're going to still keep moving pieces here and try to be a little bit more aggressive than maybe if we've been here for 5 years, just using it as an example. I'm going to pay attention to the Pivetta piece, and I'm going to hope that in 60 days from now, Pavetta's back, and all that other stuff we don't need to talk about.
I do appreciate Craig Stammen's honesty and transparency. I thought in listening to that, he just kind of told it like it is. He didn't paint it with a rose-colored brush.
No, he didn't.
He was like, listen, I dealt with a flexor strain. I tore mine. He said, hey, he didn't tear his, but I tore mine. I understand. He said
he was disappointed in the initial news.
He was hopeful initially that, I mean, he was the one that said a couple of days ago, there's a world where he makes his next start. Guess what? Now he's not. We know. And he did make it sound as if they weren't thrilled to find out the MRI confirmed there is this flexor strain. But he also didn't say like, woe is us, he's going to miss the remainder of the year. He's probably positioning it the way appropriately, where you don't get everyone's hopes up that he's guaranteed to come back in 15 days, but you don't also say all hope is lost. He's not going to pitch again this year. I kind of appreciated the way he went about it.
But isn't he kind of, I don't know, he kind of got everybody's hopes up on Sunday when he's like, he could potentially not miss a start. And frankly, I think what he said today too gave me a little, said could be a couple of weeks.
And then said the months.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know what you're saying. I think you have, am I right about this? Is there like it's such a stark difference from what you covered the last couple of years?
I noticed
that the compliments that you give to him is because you feel like they're more authentic.
Yeah.
So you're probably leaning more towards that. My initial just reaction, I think there's a little bit, at least in the Pivetta thing, his timetable is a little bit all over the place.
Yeah.
From how he started to what he said today.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you're right. A lot of my perspective on Stammen is
based on
directly
history
tied to Schilt, where if the prior manager wasn't Mike Schilt, let's say I'm just making it up, was Chase Tingler, even though Melvin was in there, I probably wouldn't make as many comps. Like I don't remember making a lot of Melvin Tingler comps, although maybe I did because Tingler was the inexperienced guy and Melvin was like the overexperienced guy. But I don't recall making a lot of Melvin to Schilt comps. But I feel like I'm going to make a lot of Stammen Schilt because it's feeling 180 to me. The former big league player that was just in the big leagues like 2 years ago to like a lifer in the sport in Mike Schilt. I'm just noticing a lot of differences. And by the way, just like I don't think it's fully fair to blame Craig Stammen for like their slow start when they were 2-5, and people went there, right?
You don't want to give them all the credit for their start as well.
We got to talk about what this team is doing, and Craig Stammen is a part of the team because he manages it. But I do think we should recognize, and you have today, like their offense is improved. Their pitching has held up. We'll see about what happens here after Pivetta. Shoot, the story here is this. They have the second best record in the sport. Like, we should recognize that. It's been 17 games, not 100, but they've got the second best record in the sport. Like, we should recognize it. And hopefully the good play continues moving forward, even with the Pivetta news.
How much do you pay attention to that? Like, you say the second best record. I'm sure there's a lot of people you're going to instantly look and you're going to do standings. You look at overall and it's like, hey, the Dodgers are 1, the Padres are 2. Do you pay attention to that? Like I try to, and I'm not telling you that I'm good at this, but I try to not pay attention to what's happening 2 hours north because I don't think it benefits me to pay attention to them. And I think in San Diego, there is probably a what are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? Obviously, talking about the Dodgers. I don't see benefit in it for us in San Diego.
Is it kind of like following, not that the Dodgers are your ex-girlfriend, but is it like when you're still following your ex-girlfriend on all your social media accounts? Like,
probably not healthy. Yeah, probably not healthy.
At some point, like you just stop following, stop playing along.
And then you're also seeing that she's like
dating this model.
Right. And she's wildly successful at her job. She's never been happier.
Yeah, now she looks so happy. So I do agree.
She's never been happier.
And I don't pay a lot of attention to the Dodgers until I need to. Example, when the Padres play the Dodgers, I'm going to talk about the Padres and the Dodgers.
Yep.
If they square off in the postseason, oh, by the way, they've done it a lot, like 3 times this decade. And one of them went their way and 2 didn't, such is life. Then, of course, you're going to compare. They're playing in the playoffs. The comparison is the game.
But that's the matchup.
You're right. Right now, I'm being honest with you right now. I'm not overly concerned about the Dodgers at all. There'll be a moment I probably will be.
Yeah, because and it's different. Like you can't be. There's no reason to be.
No, not now.
They're gonna win. The give me the name. The Fangraphs came on.
Dan Zimborski.
When he said there's an 80% chance they're gonna win the NL West, I'm like, why don't you run that one again? Why don't you rerun that? Yes, I do.
What would give me a number though? Throw in say 90.
Yeah, I'd say 90.
Would you say 95? Say 95, just for me, because I'll make my point that I always make that Brent's gonna love.
I'll go 95.
You 95. So okay, they're gonna win the division, right? Is what you're saying? They have a 95% chance. Would you get on a plane with a 95% chance of landing? Because if you know how many planes would be crashing in America today if 95% of them landed?
95 out of 100 of them
landed,
or would be landing, and 5 would not be.
That's a problem.
Yep.
But you can't stop Debbie Downer.
Well, no, but I'm spinning it positively because I'm saying if there actually were, let's put it between 80 and 100.
Okay.
Let's say Dan Szymborski is pessimistic on the Dodgers, and let's say 100 is like they're not 100%. Let's say somewhere in the middle, 90% chance.
90% chance. Yeah.
Again, I'd prefer to be the team with a 90% chance, but I do think it is important to note that means that there are examples where they're not.
Yeah, but if you're 80% of the odds or 90% of the odds, it doesn't mean 10% is going to the Padres.
True.
There's going to be a
There's
percentage of
Diamondbacks
that
chance.
that's going to the Diamondbacks.
agree.
Let's say you gave them 3%. Let's say you
Right.
gave the Padres 4%.
Right.
I'm just making
Yeah,
it up, right?
Giants,
So like
2%.
what number are you going to make? That's also going to come into the equation. Listen, it is, let's be honest with the start of the season. I'm surprised they've gone on this type of a stretch, that they're playing this good of baseball. And of course, shocked since they started the season out 2-5. And when you go look at the overall standings and you see it's Dodgers 1 and it's Padres 2, that's great. That's phenomenal. But I do think when the dust settles, you're not chasing them. You are just trying to be the best version of yourself. Get into the damn wild card. Hopefully you got some home games, because I do think the difference last year is they played just bad enough at the end of the season and really the month of September that did cost them
Home field.
home field, obviously having home field and getting a chance to go up against the Brewers. And if you were eventually going to face the Dodgers, that's fine, but you can't worry about 3-4 steps ahead when you're not even at step 1.
My old show, my former co-host.
Yep. You could
when
say
when I said, there'd be a 95% chance of, hey, would you get in a plane with a 95% chance of landing? He'd be like, yeah, of course. 95%. That's a huge number. I'd be like, you're an idiot. Because
I don't feel good about that. Yeah, I don't feel good about
strategy.
that plane.
Because you get on 20 planes, the math suggests one of them is going down. So that's just my point. I don't know what the point is, but I like that analogy. He says it's a little Debbie Downer because you're talking about planes going down.
I can see that. I can see that angle from his part. Yeah, I could see that one.
I think
that one makes a little bit of sense.
Do you want to hear from Eric Spoelstra on the other side?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk a little.
Last night,
I need you to also, because I told you I almost texted you twice yesterday and I never did. I don't know why I would tell you. I almost texted you and I never did. But you owe
the play-in tournament an
the
apology.
National Basketball Association and Adam Silver, all these guys, you owe them all an apology.
No, I owe the play-in tournament an apology.
You owe everybody. Who's under Adam Silver?
The play-in tournament.
He also gets an
apology.
An apology.
I will change my take on the play-in tournament. Plus, we'll hear from Eric Spoelstra, the Heat head coach, on the dirty play from LaMelo Ball last night for the Hornets. We're here until 6. We'll get back to the Padres as well on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Do-do-do. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Schaefer and Sliwa. Again, starting Monday, San Diego Sports 760 has 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. It's the Bonus Bucks contest. Listen at the top of every hour, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. starting Monday. Listen for the keyword entered at sportssd.com. It starts Monday at 9 a.m. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. I was very anti-play-in tournament yesterday to the point where I'm like, I'm done with this thing, right? I was so mad about the format.
Angry. And you hated that.
Tens and the this is.
You hated that. Why aren't they both playing? Why don't you have 7 and 8, 7 and 8 playing each other, or 9 and 10 on the same day?
I was so mad.
So angry.
I mean, just vitriol.
I've never seen you,
So
because
mad.
I don't know you very well yet. You threw your cell.
I did.
Across the studio.
Yeah, I nearly I mean, it was ugly.
It was ugly.
I almost broke my hand. I almost punched a wall. But then I turned on the game last night. I get home, my wife is watching Hornets Heat on Amazon. And I'm like, oh, this is a pretty good game.
So your wife just straight up.
Oh, she's obsessed. Dude.
She's taking in
crushing.
NBA games like
she's
that.
like breaking down like analytics. I know.
Get
She
out
already
of town.
had Amazon on.
Get out of town.
I'm not kidding. She's obsessed with the NBA. Like, I'm like, can I put the Padres on? She's like, no.
It's gonna be
I gotta
awesome.
Put it on the laptop.
It's going to be awesome because when we hang out outside of the studio, basically your wife and I are going to be talking NBA all the entire
I
time.
need
And
to
I'm going
have
to
you
say,
over
John,
to the
not
place.
right now. We're breaking down the 90 Sonics team.
Well, she loves the 90 Sonics because she was born in Seattle.
Oh, wow.
So she's very excited. But I need to have you over because my 7-year-old wants to meet you because he's very curious about Schaefer and Sliwa. He's like, what the heck?
Who is this guy?
Yeah, like what's going on here?
Tell him I'll let him know. Right now,
Yeah.
the schedule is really busy.
Okay, I will let him know. But I watched last night and I'm like, this is good television. Like what I failed to consider in the 7, 8, 9, 10 BS that I think is BS is that the games themselves can be terrific. I just failed to consider that there's anything useful that comes out of this. But then I'm watching the Hornets literally jumping on each other on the floor when at the last second a shot is blocked away at the buzzer that would have won the game for the Heat.
Miles Bridges with a block.
Yeah, then I'm like, okay, I get it. Like it does matter. Again, do I think the Hornets all of a sudden are winning out? No, I don't. But I failed to recognize that, yeah, I don't think the 9th and 10th place teams matter. But when they play each other, they pretended like it mattered.
All right, so here's what I tell you. I think you can make a case that the NBA play-in is, let's just say, unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
I think you can make the case that whoever comes out of the 9-10 matchup probably not competing for an NBA championship. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think you're good on that front. The problem was just the timing. The timing of when we had the conversation, and then literally both games were phenomenal. Even the Suns-Blazers game.
No, I know.
Which I know you're probably not watching that. But I had it on the backline. I'm watching the Padre game. I'm going to throw in a play-in tournament game as well. It doesn't, and I'm an NBA guy to begin with. So I think if you're the NBA, this is what you have working for you. And it's no different. I think the comp that you made about the tournament was known for how long, being 64 teams.
Right.
And then you have this now, like the play-in to get in. And is it necessary? It's not. But if it's in the middle, I don't know what you would have been doing yesterday if that game wasn't on, probably just watching the Padres. But I don't think it takes anything away. And I think if they want to give teams 5 days off before the postseason starts and reward those that are in the top six as well, I think that's fine. But you can look at me and say these games are unnecessary, and I can't really argue against that. Those just happen to be 2 really good games yesterday. We get 2 blowouts tonight.
Potentially, we'll have to see. All right, let's hear from Eric Spoelstra because again, one of the stories within the story of last night is that LaMelo Ball grabs the leg of Bam, 83-point Bam, right? For the Heat. In the second quarter, he plays just 11 minutes in this game. He ends up missing the rest of the game due to injury. I mean, by all intents and purposes, it is dirty. I don't think it's the dirtiest thing we've ever seen, but it was dirty, and Bam misses the rest of the game. Heat are out in a close game in overtime. This is what the Heat head coach Eric Spoelstra had to say.
I don't think it's cute. I don't think it's funny. I think it's a stupid play. It's a dangerous play. Obviously, our best player is out. I'm not making an excuse. The Hornets played great, and they made those plays down the stretch. We had our opportunities to win. I just, that's a shame. He should be penalized for that. I don't think that belongs in the game. Tripping guys, shenanigans. And, Curtis was there. It's his responsibility to see that. And if it's not his responsibility, then Zach's got to see it. If, somebody has got to see that. And that, he should have been thrown out of the game, for that.
I don't disagree with him.
What? Okay,
Yeah,
so
I
I tried listening to this morning. I'm doing my podcast.
Yep.
And I listened to it a couple times. I'm saying to myself, I'm like, what part do I disagree with?
I think it's a measured take. I didn't think it was crazy.
It's a measured take. He also went out of his way to say we didn't lose.
We could have won.
We had our chances as well, which I would make the argument. No, you lost because Bam Adebayo's not in the game. That's why you lost that game. That's their best player. I love too. I want to say my favorite part. How about Eric Spoelstra just naming off the referees, saying, yeah, that guy should have saw it. If he didn't see it, that guy should have saw it.
Can the league, you know much more about this. Now in this replay era with Secaucus, New Jersey, which, by the way, is a disaster if you've ever been to Secaucus. There's so much traffic. But can the league step in there and stop it to look at a play?
So from what I understand, because there wasn't a stop in play, they couldn't go back.
That's
so
fair.
that wasn't one of those where Eric Spoelstra could say, hey, we saw this. We want you to go back, which I don't know. That one doesn't make all the sense of the world. So right now, the NBA is investigating the trip of Bam Adebayo.
I think he sits for a game. I'm talking about LaMelo.
So this is the conversation that we were having. I don't think it was this, oh my God, this guy clotheslined him. It wasn't that.
I agree.
I think if Bam Adebayo gets tripped by LaMelo Ball and just gets back up and just starts playing, then we're probably not having the conversation. We'll say that, hey, that was a kind of a dirty play.
Maybe,
yeah. But the fact that he got injured and he wasn't able to come back, can you justify, and I hate to say this, but can you, if you're the league, say, yeah, we're just going to let that one go? Can they do that? Like, what justification can you have to say we're going to let LaMelo Ball play? What can you say?
Here's all you need to know. Ball postgame. I'm just reading this quote. I haven't heard the audio. I'm reading this quote. At ESPN, it says Ball apologized twice.
Yep, he did.
He's recognizing the mistake. To me, that's an admission of guilt. Again, I'm not like going to cast this. I'm not saying LaMelo Ball is the dirtiest player ever.
And he's not known for that.
Yeah.
So there is no history. It's not like a Grayson Allen or like a player. Just kind of think of other players in the league.
But he said, I apologize on that one. He said of the trip, I got hit in the head on the play and didn't really know where I was, but I'm going to check on him, see if he's okay and everything. So he's trying to kind of make an excuse like, hey, I didn't know what was going on, but that's not an excuse. I think he's recognizing he made a mistake. Do you have the audio, Brent? Here it is.
LaMelo, it kind of looked like on film that you might have grabbed his leg. I mean, did you intentionally grab his leg?
I haven't even seen. Like I said, I got hit in the head, didn't even know where I was. But yeah, just playing basketball. But like I said, sorry, and I'm gonna check on him.
Again, I'm not saying sit this guy for 40 games.
No, and I think I'll go back to our original point. I think if you're the league, how can you just ignore it? How can you just pretend it didn't happen? Bam Adebayo was out of the game 11. He played 11 minutes, couldn't play the entire second half. And the Miami Heat season ended on that play. You could make an argument Miami could have beat them, but I would make a bigger argument that Bam Adebayo plays 35 minutes yesterday. The Heat are beating the Hornets. I think that's what you got to do. I hate to say it, but I think that's what you got to do.
We'll get some type of ruling, presumably tomorrow, I would think, from the league.
How quick? Sorry to, I hate to keep interrupting you like this. How quick are you driving home to catch the playing games because of what happened yesterday?
I will drive at the same speed, but I do recognize the Sixers are beating the Magic right now, 39-36. Like
I took Magic in this one.
That's early. It's a 3-point game.
Yeah.
On the other side, why does Fernando Tatis Jr. have a day off tonight for the Padres? That's next on Schaefer and Sliwa.
This report is sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance. The Padres and Mariners are getting set for game 2 of their series tonight down at Petco Park. It's going to be Emerson Hancock going for Seattle and Randy Vasquez going for the Padres. First pitch is set for 6:40. The NBA released numbers today for the regular season showing that 170 million people in the U.S. watch NBA games across their primary broadcast platforms. That is the league's best numbers in the last 24 years, and they said it was an 86% rise from last season. And it's day 2 of the NBA play-in games right now. In Philly, the Magic and the 76ers are going at it with about 5 minutes to go in the first half. The Sixers are up 42-40. And then tonight at 7 o'clock, we've got Warriors Clippers. If you have questions about youth or high school sports, Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA builds better athletes and better people through sports. Info at positivecoach.org.
All right, Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. All right, again, with you here until, what am I looking at here? I did something on YouTube. Did you see this in the bottom right?
We're going to go
The
till
little
6
comments
o'clock,
on the
you and
bottom.
I. We'll go till 6.
We're here until
Oh,
6.
yeah, I see the comments
Show
right
comments
there.
on
Very
stage.
nice.
I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean
Oh,
to
you
do
don't
that.
want
I
it
don't know
there.
how to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, that just means that while we have our StreamYard page up, we don't have to go to YouTube to see the comments. So it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying for the viewer, if you're watching on YouTube right now, if I click show comments on stage, they're seeing their comments actually on our video. See, look at this.
But aren't they seeing it
Look at that.
anyways? But they're seeing it anyways.
But it's kind of like on the side. It's not really on me and you. If you're watching on television, for example,
Yeah.
you wouldn't see the comments unless I did this. Like Brent, look at that. You see that? Do you guys like that?
It's not bad.
It's not bad. What do you guys think in the chat? I'll leave it up for a minute and we'll figure
Leave
it
it
out.
up for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, it does kind of cover up the logo. Well, whatever.
Well-
we'll work on that. We'll work on that.
Unfortunately, it just covers up my name.
It's exactly.
Literally.
It actually looks great. It says Schaefer. That's terrific.
All of a sudden, you love it.
it's unbelievable. I love it.
This idea is amazing.
Toddy, Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yep.
Sits tonight for the first time. Now, every regular has sat. There's 17 games in. Stammen talked about this within the hour. We played it here on 760, saying that, listen, I think some of the really good teams I've been on utilize their entire 26-man roster. Like, you're going to need everyone over 162.
Which, by the way, sounds like kind of a new type of approach, right? Like maybe old school managers not as crazy about doing that. Some of these newer managers are saying, no. This of the analytics and the statistics, we want our guys fresh later on, and where we can give them a day off, let's give them a day off.
And this is where Machado, some would argue, was really hurt last year. He's on like tired legs the second half of the year. They just couldn't give him a day off.
And he was doing that out of almost like,
Spite.
no, it was, I'm going to say ego, but not in a bad way. It's like, no, I'm showing up to work every day. That's how I was taught. I was taught never to take a day off. And I think there's a little bit of a new school mentality. It's like, yeah, but if you take that day off, yes, you took it off. You're fresher for some of these other days, quality over quantity.
Yeah, it's almost like he did it to his own detriment. And that's just who Manny Machado sometimes has been in his career. So the Tatis thing makes sense because Machado has sat and Bogarts has sat and Merrill has sat. I will just recognize that we're now 17 games in, make it 18 with Tatis sitting today. He still has not homered. We had Dan Zimborski earlier from Fangraphs who looks at the numbers. And he said he looked as recently as today or last night, and nobody has hit the ball harder this year.
How about that?
Than Fernando Tatis Jr. The qualifier there is, well, he's not hitting the ball in the air with routine. He's either lining it, which is good. I mean, that's a great way to get on base on average. And you'd like to think over the course of 162, your batting average will elevate, but he's also hitting the ball on the ground a lot. So great. He's hitting the ball hard. But again, this is a guy who hit 42 home runs one season in the major leagues. What did he hit last year? 24 or 25?
24. Yeah, I think 20. Remember, he went through a really long stretch where he wasn't
80
hitting.
games, he had 2 or 3. I don't know. That's concerning to me. It's concerning. But John, the exit velocity. But John, but everyone, he doesn't homer anymore. Is that not a problem?
It is a problem. And I think, let me ask you this. If I told you right now you can get 25 home runs from Tatis this year, You taking it or saying, no, I'll take my chances. Let's see how many. 25 is not a crazy number. I think that's probably where he's going to be around.
Yeah, I think I have to take it because what if he's lower than that?
Let me ask you this question. What's more realistic? He's at 20 or 30 this year?
I'd say 20.
Yeah.
His 30 is now a big number.
I guess the point that I'm making is because there's been this amount of time that's gone since he had a 40 home run year.
Yeah.
I think what you're looking at with Tatis is this is kind of what Tatis is.
I agree.
We want to keep going back, and this is something we all do. Want to kind of go back to our past or history and say, well, this is how it used to be. Yeah, but this is not how it is today. And until Fernando Tatis has a year where he cranks out 35 home runs, it's going to be tough to think that Tatis still has 30 or 35 home runs in him for a season. And if we're wrong on that, that's okay. We'll just come back and we'll say, wow, we were wrong. Amazing. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
But I'm now trained when I talk about Tatis to just assume he's going to be probably around 25 home runs.
Yeah, I would agree. Like his last home run, and he had a little stretch in September where
He did
was
have a
really
stretch.
hitting well.
Yeah.
But he hasn't homered in the big league since September 27th of last year. It's like at some point, I know how he is and how he wears everything on his sleeve. You know he's thinking about it. Now, to his credit, I guess, again, the second base experiment worked well. He had a really nice weekend.
Mm-hmm.
He continues to play elite defense. It's not like he's hitting 130. He's not Cal Raleigh. I mean, Cal Raleigh hasn't hit this out of a barn so far this year. So he's been fine by and large. And I do agree with the overall sentiment that because some of the indicators are high, that's encouraging for things like batting average, on base percentage, even slugging percentage. But we can't just say the indicators are encouraging all season long. You're going to have to produce.
Tatis can impact games any given night and anytime he's got the bat or anytime he's out in right field. So as long as the Padres are winning and Tatis is finding ways to impact a game, I think the home runs are going to come.
I agree.
I think if Tatis is trying to swing for the fences, then there's a much less chance I think he'll be productive for the Padres.
Right. Yeah. No, I would agree with that. And here's a night where you say, well, Fernando's not in the lineup.
Yeah.
Well, they've had this threat. Manny's not in the lineup. They win games. The credit to the team is that, and this is baseball, obviously, like you don't typically win a game because of one player, and you hope in any one game where you can still find a way to win. And by the way, Xander Bogaerts, he deserves credit. He had 3 hits yesterday. Is on base plus slugging is well over 700. He's hitting 270 or over 270 right now. Like, I think we should recognize, because as critical as I am of some of these players that 17 or 18 games haven't hit, we should recognize Xander has had a nice 17 games to start his year. And I do hope it continues. Maybe that's wishful or hopeful, but I like what I've seen so far.
Here's who's carrying the Padres right now. And by the way, listen, you have a nice balance here. So you're not just depending on one player, but Xander, 270, also has a couple of home runs, 17 hits on the season. And again, like you just mentioned, you got 11 RBIs. You got to be kind of, you got to be a little bit surprised and pleased with what he's done so far. Laureano, I think, has probably been the best Padre player with a bat. What's he batting? I think 263. He's got 4 home runs for the Padres and also 11 RBIs. And then Jackson Merrill kind of turned things around as well, 250. So the point that I'm making is Machado hasn't done anything special. Tatis hasn't done anything special. Here's the reality. If you're going to go out in the playoffs and truly compete with some of these other teams, as important as Tatis and Machado are, you do not have a team if you're depending on 2 guys. So it's just as important for these guys to be playing good baseball to start the season as it is for Tatis and Machado. It's just so easy for us. It's knee-jerk reaction to look, how is Tatis doing? How's Machado doing? And if those players aren't playing well, we kind of lead with that rather than look at some of the other players are doing and they still got a tremendous record.
Yeah, and I do feel like, me personally, I've spent a lot of time obsessing over Tatis's home run total, which is probably pointless. And I haven't really recognized.
But it's fair.
It's fair. I haven't really touched as much on, well, Machado's hitting 196. Because the thing with Machado, and listen, I'll be critical of Manny Machado.
I know where you're going.
I just know he's going to get there. At the end of the year, I'll look up, he hit 275. He drove in 95 and he hit 28 home runs. Like that's my assumption. Until it doesn't happen, I'd be surprised if it didn't. But with Tatis, that doesn't happen every year. There's this wide fluctuation in overall results. With Machado, it's like steady as they come. Every year, he's the exact same consistent player. Credit to him. So I'll wait on that. I'm more willing to wait on him. He's always 1 week away from 3 home runs, 10 RBIs.
You know, I told you that I was going to text you yesterday.
Yeah.
So I was going to text you twice.
Yeah.
One time was going to be about the playing tournament right after Charlotte and Miami. That just a classic.
classic.
I mean, yeah, that one's going to be when you kind of look back in the history of the NBA. A lot of people are going to remember that
Of course.
9-10 playing game. Yeah. Yeah. The other reason why I was going to text you is when Xander with 2 outs drives in 2, gets 2 RBIs and handles business against Seattle. That was the game right there. They went up 3-1 and obviously ended up winning the game 4-1. I want to buy the Padres, the new unis, the
City Connect 2.0.
City Connect 2.0. I want to buy it. Right. So
You're
I
gonna
want to buy a jersey of that
with a player.
That's my thought right now. My thought is to do that. So I'm trying to decide which player to get, and I want to walk you into my thought process.
Why don't you do that on the other side?
Why don't I just do that when we come back from the commercial break?
And by the way, I'm going to tell you. Okay, I'll tell you on the other side my thoughts on that. All right, we're here until 6 p.m. Should Allen buy a new City Connect?
No, I'm
2.0
buying.
jersey?
I'm buying. There's no question. The question is, what jersey am I buying? Which player am I
Someone's career
representing?
You're about to ruin. Because typically when we do something like that, the careers.
I don't
are over
believe
for
in
the
that
player.
stuff.
Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, final time. Schaefer and Sliwa. Padres are going for 7 straight. So, of course, Alan's going to buy a Padres jersey.
Well, it's not why I'm buying a Padres jersey.
What,
City Connect 2.0. City Connect 2.0 is a badass jersey.
Yeah, but they're also $9,000.
Listen, I have not looked at the price yet, so I don't know what they cost.
I honestly want to look right now. I'm
But
not kidding.
either way, I'm going to get a City Connect 2.0 jersey. I like the jerseys.
A real one? Like a real one.
Do they? Is it
now
available at Nordstrom Rack?
No, but at MLBshop.com, they start at $200.
Okay.
They go up from there if you want authentic. I think that's replica pricing is $200 American dollars.
Okay.
So you're going to commit to a player.
Yeah, I am.
City Connect. Okay, I like it.
200. We can work with that.
We can work with that.
Listen,
he's telling me.
I love the new City Connect jerseys. I just freaking started a sports radio show down here in San Diego a little bit over 2 weeks ago.
You did.
I want a freaking jersey.
You know what? They're 200. It doesn't even look like you can go more than that.
Okay,
online.
they're 200.
It's 200. Maybe you get a little free shipping or 10%. I don't know. You know,
Maybe
you
just go down to the store.
You go to the store and maybe it's more than 200.
Probably gonna go to the store. Oh yeah, that's a
no,
good point.
but go to the store. So and now you're
Now
saying,
the question
hey, I
is
could get-
which player.
By the way, I find it interesting that at MLBshop.com right now, when I'm picking between players, Yu Darvish is among the options. It's interesting. So is Nick Pivetta, obviously. So is Toddy or Machado. I don't see Mason Miller. I do see Xander. Okay, Xander's right here.
Okay, don't push.
Are you going to make a decision?
Because you're starting
right
to
now?
push right now.
You have about 7 minutes to make a decision.
Of which player?
Yes.
All right, let me give you like my
Power
top
ranking.
3.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a by far not even close number 1.
Okay.
By far not even close number
Who's
1.
that?
You want to guess who?
Mason Miller.
No, let me tell you why not Mason Miller.
Okay.
I don't want Mason Miller because I feel like it's like a band that you used to see. You ever hear people talk about like there was a band that not a lot of people knew about and now they just blew up and everybody's got it?
The Dave Matthews Band?
Any band.
Okay.
Any band that you watch. It's like they're really popular now, and now is like when you're buying it.
I got you.
Number 1 on my list, and it's not close, is Ramon Laureano.
Okay.
Laureano's number 1 on my
list.
list, and it's not even close.
So why not go with Laureano?
Because here's the issue I'm having. Originally, I wanted to get a Xander Bogaerts jersey when he first came to the Padres.
Okay. 3-4 years ago.
Am I wasting, like, what am I doing here? Is this like a blind leap of faith? Am I the one that nobody's buying Xander's jersey at the moment, and I go in there and I say, maybe I can negotiate. Maybe I can say, listen,
Get a deal.
I'm gonna say, listen, what
Hey,
if
I'm the
I
one.
got 165? Can we make a deal? Sir, why don't you exit? So do I do that? Do I go Xander?
Can I give you my honest 2 cents?
Don't do Xander.
I would never,
Brother, but he's gonna be here for 8 years.
Well, maybe. Maybe. I would
At least
never
5.
Probably. I would never buy a Xander Bogaerts jersey. I wish him nothing but the best. I like him a lot. I love what he says with the media. But
This makes me now want to do it.
You want to do it because I wouldn't do it?
No, just because like nobody's going to buy his jersey. I have just blind faith.
I mean, you could
All right,
go
well,
Randy Vasquez.
Well, Vasquez
Yeah,
is an
young
interesting
guy
one.
under control.
Vasquez is an interesting one. You know
think
what people
Vasquez is
don't
good.
buy? They don't buy like bullpen guys.
No, you're not going to go out there and buy Alec Jacob, who just got called up.
Morion,
Right.
Estrada.
Matt Waldron, you can be that guy.
I mean, there's guys that have balled out for the Padres.
Right.
Out of that bullpen.
What about Frankie in our chat says Merrill? Very safe, under control
Yeah.
for years,
Yeah.
young player.
Okay. Listen,
Right.
I'm a Jackson Merrill fan,
I'm a fan.
of course.
We all are.
However, if you said Laureano or Jackson Merrill, I want Laureano.
It's so funny because I'm looking at through the lens of like
an investment who's going to be here long
yeah,
term.
because I've recently gotten into sports cards,
Yeah.
right? Nobody buys sports cards of players in their 30s, by and large. They buy them of players in their 20s
Sure.
on their way up. You know, there's some amazing players in cards that have no collectability, so to speak, because they like had these amazing careers, but like they're not the greatest of all time. They're just really, really, really good, Hall of Fame caliber, but like, So I don't know.
Laureano's a 32, 33-year-old.
That's what
You
I'm
don't know his
saying.
future with the Padres.
That's what I'm saying.
So what you're saying is
Go with the young.
it's not a long-term investment.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Where Merrill, like, come on, barring something hopefully unforeseen, he's going to be here a long time. Mason Miller could be here for a long time. He's under control for a long time.
But I want to support what Laureano's doing.
It doesn't go right to his paycheck.
No. As in appreciate what he's doing. I think Laureano's been a stud. I thought he was a stud for the Padres last year too.
What about Castellanos?
No.
Bryce Johnson.
He's not going to make the list.
Okay.
I think you kind of talked me out of the Xander thing, which bothers me because it's such a good justification. And if we're going on a long-term investment, Xander's going to be here for a long time.
He will, but I mean, you want to rock it when he's like 40?
No.
He's not that far off.
I'm basically,
He is.
There's a time that you're asking yourself is like that $200.
$200.
Is it going anywhere or is it not?
I'll give you one. I mean, this isn't exactly like some hot take and everyone's buying. The number one purchase one might be this player. Maybe not. I mean, you could go with Toddy. It's on a 14-year deal. He's 27 years old. There's a good chance he's here for 5+ years. By then, you might not be wearing it anyway. They'll have a new City Connect in 5 years. Remember, they switch them every 3 years. After 3 years. So this thing is going to be new come 2029.
I got to rethink this. You threw so many different scenarios in my head. I think I'm just going to have to go team store, go take a look.
Go Stammen.
Yeah.
How about that?
Well, I'm a big Schilt fan, so I might see if they. Again, listen, I don't know how you are. Maybe you're different because you come off that way. Maybe you go straight to like certain areas of the store. I go take a quick look at the clearance rack. Like what do we got going on over here?
Dude.
Is this mediums right here? Let's see what the mediums look like.
They don't have one. Their clearance rack is the old City.
Yeah, no, they don't have.
They just redid that store. It's been redone.
Oh no. There's no in a place like that. Yeah,
they got a rack where they say you want to pay 120%. We have it. You're here for
no problem.
Saturday night, everything's 120%, not 20% off, but
1,000%,
120% of retail. Listen, I think they're cool. Can I give you the dirty secret? I'm going to.
Maybe I'll go get a Suarez one. That one came down.
Well, would you consider the like secondary market jerseys?
No, if I'm going to get one, I'm going to get one.
You got to go real.
I mean, I don't have to go get the one that Laureano just wore yesterday.
It's $490.
But I will get, if I'm going to get one,
they'll go with the replica.
Yeah, we'll get one.
Okay.
I think we talked it out. I think now if I'm leaning towards any player, I think I'm going Laureano. I think that's where I'm leaning most.
No, I like that. I mean, I love him as a player. I really do.
You just think that it might not hold value in 2 years.
What's his contract?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think
he's not under control.
I don't think this is his final year. This might be his final year.
I think it's his final year.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
So like that alone is problematic.
Is risky.
Laureano is signed through 2026. This is 2026.
It's risky. It's a little risky.
Every night that passes, he's got potentially one less game in the uniform.
Yeah, it's a little risky.
Ask if you can get it for 165. Be like, I'm not sure if he's going to be here. I got you 165.
Can you imagine walking into the Padres team store and trying to negotiate?
I got 8 20s and a 5. Do you want it? Take it or leave it.
It's a very Middle Eastern thing, by the way.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's like what we do. I'm like, Dad, they're not. You can't get a different price at Costco. Like this is the price.
I love it. All right, we're back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Getting ready for Padres.
Let's go. Positive 7 in a row. Let's go.
Make it 7 straight. If you missed it or anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. For Brent and Alan, I'm John. This is Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.